Good morning. We will get started. We're just 10 minutes behind schedule. We just had some technical things that we were working out. Let's get to agenda item 1, roll call and establishment of quorum. Welcome to the meeting of the Structural Pest Control Board. Today is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, and the time is 9:11 a.m. We will now establish a quorum. Sophia, please call the roll.
Good morning. Thank you. Vice President Finley.
Here.
Board Member Mendenhall.
Here.
Board Member Paxson.
Here.
Board Member Tingen.
Here.
And for the record, Board Member Bindal is absent, and we have a quorum with 4 members present.
Okay, with a quorum established, we will proceed with our agenda.
Before you start, let me confirm that the KMG Psychiatry is online. Can that location please confirm that you're present?
Yes, we are present.
Can you confirm the address?
765 3rd Avenue, Chula Vista, California, 91910.
Okay, thank you. Oh, is there anyone present at that location?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, agenda item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, agenda items 3, 4, and 5 are petitions for reinstatement and a modify and terminate probation. The purpose of these hearings is for the board to consider petitions for reinstatement or petitions to modify or terminate probation. I will now turn the meeting over to the administrative law judge to begin the hearings.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I am Administrative Law Judge Christopher Dietrich. I'll be presiding over the hearings this morning. The first hearing is the matter of Mr. Romero. Mr. Romero, could you please unmute yourself and turn your camera on?
Absolutely. I'm present. Good morning, Judge.
There we are. Wonderful. Good morning, sir. And then I just want to make sure, Ms. Escovo Parkinson, are you able to see and hear me okay?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then Ms. Lee, are you on as well?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Okay, good morning. So I'm going to just give a brief rundown before we start the hearing of what to expect. So first of all, and some of these instructions will apply to the other 2 petitioners as well. So I ask that the other 2 petitioners listen carefully, and I'll confirm that you heard these instructions when we start your hearings. So Mr. Romero, were you able to get on and see the exhibit packet that Ms. Lee uploaded to Case Center?
I sure did, Judge.
Wonderful. And then I noticed you also uploaded some documents. I've seen those.
That is correct.
Now, I did notice in a few of your documents, sir, that just I'll advise you that these are public records, and all the exhibits that you've uploaded are potentially available to the public. I did take notice that some of the documents contained your driver's license, your date of birth, your social security number. I've went through on my end and identified those, and my proposal, just to make it easier so we can conclude the hearing, is that I would administratively redact them on my end using Case Center's tools. So I would just advise you, in case there are ever any future hearings, make sure you redact personal information like that before you upload them to Case Center.
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Lee, any issue with me doing those type of
No,
redactions?
not at all. I do thank you for it. Again, this is my first time going through a hearing. I'm not an expert in court law or etiquette, so please bear with me and be patient.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Ms. Lee, any issues with me doing those type of redactions?
No,
No,
not
Your
at
Honor.
all.
Okay, thank you. And try to listen carefully who I was addressing. I was addressing Miss Lee there, Mr. Romero. Um, and then just in terms of logistics, how the hearing will proceed. First, we'll hear from Ms. Lee, who will present some background to the board, and this will be true on all the matters. And then after that, the floor will be handed over to the petitioner to make their presentation. The burden of proof is ultimately on the petitioner to establish that they are entitled to the relief they seek in their petition, but we have the Deputy Attorney General proceed first just to give us some background. And we do have a court reporter here who's going to take down everything that's being said, so I ask that everybody just be mindful of her and not talk over each other so she can make a clear record. With that, Ms. Escobar-Parkinson, are you ready to go on the record?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we are on the record. We are here before the Board of Structural Pest Control, the Structural Pest Control Board, to review the petition for reinstatement of Juan No Romero. This is Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 2025081015. My name is Christopher Dietrich. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and I have been assigned to hear this case. Before we went on record today, a quorum of the board was established. First, may I have the appearance of our court reporter?
Good morning, Maria Esquivel-Parkinson, CSR number 10621.
Thank you. Appearance for the Deputy Attorney General.
Good morning, Your Honor. Deputy Attorney General Stephanie Lee, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General's Office pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Thank you. And also present is Petitioner Juan No Romero. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. It's Juan Noe Romero. I'm the petitioner. I'm requesting for my operator's license to be reinstated.
Thank you, sir. And you have chosen to represent yourself today, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And before we went on record, I did give a brief explanation of the procedures. I'll summarize them again for the record. As I explained, the Deputy Attorney General will proceed first to present the petition and provide orientation in this matter. After that, the petitioner has the right to make a presentation under oath on his own behalf to explain why he believes his license should be reinstated. The petitioner may also call witnesses to testify on his behalf. The petitioner and any witnesses will be subject to questioning by the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. The board is particularly concerned with rehabilitation that the petitioner may have engaged in, and the petitioner is reminded that the board has had the benefit of reading the petition package. You do not have to repeat the contents of that package. After the hearings, the board will go into closed session to deliberate. The petitioner will not receive a decision today, but it will receive it sometime in the mail in the near future. Mr. Romero, did you have any questions before we get started?
No, Your Honor. Everything's well understood.
Thank you, sir. With that, Ms. Lee, please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning. The first matter before this board is a petition for reinstatement of Mr. Romero's operator license number 12462 in branch 3. The procedural history of this case is that license was issued to Mr. Romero on December 20th, 2012. It was revoked pursuant to an accusation in case number 2016-14. That accusation was based on allegations involving both Mr. Romero and his co-respondents, the company that he worked for at the time, Rose Termite, another operator, Bill Marsh, and a field representative named Donald Archie, Archie. The underlying facts of that accusation case, which led to the discipline, involved 3 separate projects that were done by Rose Termite. Mr. Romero was responsible as the operator on the 3rd project, which is located at West Alexander Avenue. Mr. Romero entered into an agreement around November of 2014 to serve as the qualified manager for Rose Termite in an agreement that was approximately $900 a month, which was essentially a rental license agreement. In December of 2014, the following month, Rose Termite conducted an inspection Field Representative Donald Archie purportedly had found termites and fungus in the house and recommended treatment services in the amount of $1,175. Rose Termite purportedly completed the work and was paid that amount by the homeowner. The board inspection determined that no work had been completed and that the homeowner had to pay an additional $854 to complete the work. Mr. Romero, at the time of the board investigation, admitted that he did not properly supervise the inspection or the purported completion of work by Rose Termite. At the end of the case, the total costs associated with the enforcement of the accusation was in the amount of $4,060. Mr. Romero had his license revoked by default, and that was effective November 2nd, 2016. If the board is to consider reinstating Mr. Romero's operator's license, cost recovery should be made a term of reinstatement, and that cost recovery would include the balance of the accusation costs that are owed, and that balance is $4,060 minus $1,547.88. So there's a balance owed by all the co-respondents of $2,512.12. So Mr. Romero should be assigned either the entirety of that balance or a portion thereof. There is also restitution owed to the homeowner on the West Alexander Avenue project in the amount of $1,175. That concludes our procedural summary, Your Honor, and if we could go into describing the board's exhibit.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The board has marked as Exhibit 1 a combination of documents which includes the jurisdictional documents, including the board's letter confirming today's hearing date, the petitioner's confirmation of the hearing. It includes the petitioner's petition, as well as the related documents that he submitted in support of his petition. It includes the decision and order of the underlying accusation case, number 2016-14. It includes the board's memorandum of outstanding costs, and it includes a certified license history of all of Mr. Romero's licenses to date. Thank you, Your Honor.
And are you offering that to be admitted into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Romero, any objection to admitting those documents which have collectively been marked as Exhibit 1?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning on the board and then Your Honor. No, everything she said is factual and everything's correct.
Okay. Well, all right. And you will have your chance to present your case in a moment, Source. So with that, Exhibit 1 is admitted into evidence. Anything further, Ms. Lee?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Romero, first thing I'm going to do before you present your case is administer an oath. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Please state and spell your full name.
My full name is Juan Noe Romero. First name is Juan, Juan. Middle name Noe, Noe. Last name Romero, Romero.
Thank you, sir. Now is your opportunity to present any information you wish the board to be aware of in considering your petition. With that, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, everybody. About 10 years ago, well, the whole point of us being here is I'm petitioning the court so I can get my operators reinstated. I had an incident that happened 10 years ago where I leased out my license, operating license, to Rose Termite. With this individual, it was a bait and switch. I was dealing with a specific person, and then it turned out to be another person that was known in the industry to commit fraud. As soon as this violation occurred, within the same week, 2 weeks, I pulled my operator's license from this individual. I think I was only licensing my license for about 2 months only until I found out about the violation. And after that violation, I've never been in trouble, and I've kept up with all my licensings, and I've dedicated my career into improving my education and just being a better person for the industry and my community. And I am asking the board if I can get my operators reinstated.
Thank you, sir. Are you concluded with your testimony at this time?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Okay. Before I hand it over to Ms. Lee, I do note that you have uploaded 8 different exhibits. Ms. Lee, did you have any objection to any of the petitioner's exhibits?
No, Your Honor.
All exhibits marked as A1, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G are admitted for all purposes. All right, Ms. Lee, you may proceed with any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Romero, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mrs. Lee, I could hear you clearly.
Okay. So as a result of the disciplinary case, your operator license was taken away from you. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mrs. Lee.
But your field representative's license remained unaffected. So you're currently, since the discipline, you have been working as a field representative. Is that correct?
That is correct. I've been working as a field rep. Now my current role for the last 2-3 years have been as a branch manager for Dewey Pest Control.
Okay. And how long have you worked with Dewey?
3 years.
And how did you come upon that employment?
It was a help wanted ad, found on Indeed. I applied as a field rep. Ever since this incident about 10 years ago, 2015, I haven't worked with any private company under the scope of wood destroying organisms. Everything's been under the field rep 2, nothing to do with branch 3.
Okay. And what are your day-to-day duties as a branch manager for Dewey Pest Control?
Well, as a branch manager, I deal with all the aspects of safety, coordinating stops, vehicle inspections, vehicle safeties, chemical storage, chemical inventory. Obviously, the administrative side, paying bills, sending not me, but Secretary WDO reports to the state, training, hiring, firing, mentoring, getting new technicians licensed and educated in the field. That this field is an amazing field, which I do recommend to all of my friends and family.
What are your plans if the board reinstates your operator's license?
My whole intentions, Mrs. Lee, for the board is so they can know that I've been rehabilitated. I've had extensive amount of education in my field. And me, since being much older now, I'm able to provide and be a mentor to the newer generation that is getting involved in this industry, and they're kind of in the fence of whether I'm going to like it, stick with it, or move on. I want to be the one encouraging them to stick to this industry because it's a wonderful career. My whole goal is to educate. I'm sorry, is to educate the new up and coming termite inspectors and operators.
Okay, so do you, if your operator's license is reinstated, do you plan to try to promote within that company or start a different company?
No, I have no interest in opening a company in California. There's just too much red tape. I've done that in my early years. That's out of my system, Mrs. Lee. So my whole purpose is to educate the new upcoming and obviously to get promoted at Dewey to regional manager, even further or something in the corporate aspect.
Okay. Now, since your operator's license was revoked, it looks like you've submitted a number of continuing education certificates. Is that right?
That is correct, Mrs. Lee. I've had plenty of training, and obviously I'm also a trainer for the branch 2. I've had training with the Ag Department, DPR, target specialties, Viserias, We have annual trainings, annual safety trainings, mandatory OSHA trainings. I'm the person in charge of conducting all of that and making sure my technicians and my secretaries are also trained on it.
Okay, so of the continuing education that you received in the past 2 years, is there anything that you would highlight for the board that relates specifically to the discipline that resulted in the revocation of your license? Anything that you think was particularly helpful on that topic?
Yeah, absolutely, Mrs. Lee. Correct writing, making sure everything's on the report, including if it's a field rep branch 2 on the new service agreement, every single line has to be outlined. Because we deal with legal documents and everything we put on there, it stays on there. So we got to make sure we do everything by the book. We follow the rules and regulations so this incident will never happen again. And also the monitoring part, the inspecting, the following up on technicians. It's a very crucial part of our deal.
Okay. Now turning to the actual accusation case that led to your discipline, do you accept responsibility for the acts that led to your license discipline?
Absolutely, Mrs. Lee. I take full responsibility of it, and I'll do whatever it takes to make it whole to the homeowner and to the board. And I do want to show the board and prove that I have been rehabilitated and I'm ready to take this to the next level. And I need this license in order for me to become whole and full in my branch, in my business, not in my business, in my company.
How can the board be assured that the same conduct that led to your license discipline will not happen again?
Well, I've had plenty of years to reflect back on how I lost it. And my issue was greed. I led myself by easy money. Didn't do my due diligence in following up who was behind Rose Termite. I take full responsibility of that. Now that I'm older, I have more responsibilities. I'm in charge of 15 individuals here, and I got to make sure they're well trained, they're well educated, their driving records are good. It's a daily operation. I can't be having shortcuts anymore.
Okay, and if the board were to reinstate your operator's license, but potentially put it on probation, would you agree to that and the conditions that come with probation?
Absolutely, because like at this point, I'm willing to do whatever you guys ask for. Training, classes, fees. I'm ready for the next challenge, and yes, I'll accept everything that comes my way.
Is there any other information that you'd like to tell the board that we have not discussed through our questions and answers today?
Well, I do want to clear things up. Again, taking full responsibility. I failed to do my due diligence on the research on this individual who not only misled myself, but misled Bill Marsh, which I know, which misled other operators on that section of Southern California when the real estate was booming. I would hear about somebody named Alonzo, but never realized it was him I was dealing with until I found out after the board, made me aware of it.
Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. We'll now proceed to questions from the board, and I'm going to call on people in the order they appear on my roster. Vice President Finley, any questions?
No, not at this time. I had questions, but they were all asked and answered, and wanted to just thank Juan for open and honesty and taking the responsibility, and everything that you said was everything that we're, I guess, looking to hear for, as far as taking the responsibility, the ownership, the documents you provided, the training certificates, everything you've provided has been awesome. So thank you so much. I have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. Mr. Mendenhall.
Thank you. So Just reviewing your license history, it looks as though you've had operator's license 2 times in your career, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Mandel.
And both, I mean, the most recent one, it was kind of suspended because you didn't renew after the accusation at Rose. Why not continue to, why just let it get failure for renewal?
Well, at that point, I was really fed up, frustrated with the industry, with the kind of people, example like Alonso. I was just really tired of it. I was not interested in coming back into the industry. I tried something else for a few months. It didn't work out. So I came back to the industry where I've been doing quite very well. And I've been helping a lot of people around me, newcomers. So that's why I didn't pursue to renew my operator's license.
So in 2012, you also let your license lapse due to non-renewal. Was that also because you were frustrated with the industry?
That is correct, yes.
So you were frustrated in 2012 and 2016.
That is correct, yes.
And what's changed your mind about the industry now?
Some rules and regulations have been different. Chemicals been different. Now IPM's been incorporated more, and changes that have been happening from the state. I kind of lean and gravitate more to that versus just spraying and spraying. I consider the IPM method more effective than conventional pest control.
Okay. And then once you were brought about the accusation at Rose, you said you immediately resigned. So what opportunities were there to maybe at least make that right instead of just cutting bait and running?
Oh, no. We try to make everything right for the property on Alexander. That I took responsibility of it. The only reason I didn't renew it stayed with the industry because I was just really fed up with it. And at the same time that I was fed up, I was moving from LA to Bakersfield. So the exhibit you guys have presented where I was not available for that presentation, that was the reason why, because for me it was the logistics of it. I couldn't make it at that point.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Paxton?
Good morning, Ms. Moreno. Or Romero, I'm sorry. So I'm not in the industry, so you'll have to excuse me if I ask some questions that suggest I don't know everything about the industry. But given your current role as a branch manager, what does an operator's license do for you for your future? How does it benefit you?
It benefits me, and the way I'm looking at this, Mr. Paxton, is I'm here to train the new and upcoming generations, add value as a branch manager to the corporation, to the doing brand, and just to continue, being the great manager, service manager that my guys need on a daily basis.
Do you need an operator's license to be able to do those things?
No, I can down class to a branch 3. I'm not requesting of a full 100% operators. If I could be a branch 3 license, I would love that.
Okay. Are you going to lease it to someone else again?
I have zero interest in that.
Okay.
I have zero interest, no whatsoever.
Okay. And I don't know if you heard when the ALJ was discussing the different fees that are involved. One is the cost recovery for the Pest Control Board for the costs that they incurred in pursuing this action, and the other is the restitution. Apparently, there still is some money owed to the homeowner, and I think it was discussed that we could either assess that all towards you or possibly apportion it because there were some other responsible parties. How do you feel about that? I mean, what's your, I think the answer as to what your preference would be is obvious, but what if we were to assess all of that amount, which I think totaled a little over $4,000 or somewhere around $4,000, if we assess that to you, and that would be a requirement of your reinstatement?
Mr. Paxton, I have no problem with it, whether it's the full amount, partial amount. The only requirement I do ask if I can do it in payments. I don't have those $4,000 available in my bank accounts. But I take full responsibility of whatever
Okay.
penalty, assessment fees, I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Thank
Tengan.
you.
No comment.
Thank you. Mr. Romero, did you have any further testimony you wish to provide?
No, I guess Mrs. Lee brought everything to the upfront, described the incidents, what happened, restitution part, I agree to it. I believe we're all set to take this to the next level, whether it's reinstated, penalties. I'm okay with either decision you guys take.
Thank you. Ms. Lee, any further questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And final check for any board member questions. Hearing none. Mr. Romero, I will now excuse you as a witness. Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Romero, did you have any other documents you wish for the board to consider?
No, just whatever uploaded for the exhibits.
And did you have any further witnesses you wish the board to hear from?
No witness one.
Thank you. I will now ask if the matter is submitted, meaning that both parties have had the opportunity to present all evidence they wish to present. Ms. Lee, is the matter submitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Romero, is the matter submitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. With that, the matter is submitted, the record is closed, and we are off the record. If everyone could please just stay put for a moment, our court reporter may need some information from parties' spelling or something like that. Ms. Esquivel-Parkinson, do you need anything from the parties?
No, not right now. I have to check. There's a couple, but I'll do that later.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
And when you're ready, I need the end time and estimated page count.
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear it. Please repeat it. Oh, you're muted now, Ms. Esquivel-Parkinson.
944 and 18 pages.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's everything, Mr. Romero. Thank you for your time today, and you'll receive a decision in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. The next matter is the matter of Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rivera, if you could please come on camera and unmute yourself.
We're going to take this board president Finley. We're going to take a recess for just a 5-minute break real quick.
Understood.
It's 9:42. I've got 9:42 right now, and we'll be back at 9:47.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, it is now 9:48. We will come back and get started on agenda item 4, if we can.
Right. Good morning. Is Mr. Rivera present?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There you are. Thank you. So just as I did with the prior matter, I'm just going to do a brief check-in with you to make sure we've done all housekeeping matters and the matter's ready to proceed. Mr. Rivera, did you receive a copy of the petition packet uploaded by Ms. Lee?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Did you hear my prior explanation on the prior matter about the procedures for this case?
Yes.
Okay. With that, Ms. Esquivel-Parkinson, are we ready to go on record?
Yes, sorry, I'm having trouble with this. Yes.
Okay.
And want me to announce myself or
you will need to announce yourself, so I guess I would stay unmuted just so you're ready to do so when the time comes. With that, we are on the record of before the Structural Pest Control Board to review the petition for reinstatement of Joel Rivera. This is Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 2025081047. My name is Christopher Dietrich. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and I have been assigned to preside over this matter. Prior to going on record, we established that a quorum of the board is present. May I please have the appearance of our court reporter?
Yes, Maria Esquivel Parkinson, CSR number 10621.
Thank you. And appearance of the Deputy Attorney General.
Good morning, Your Honor. Deputy Attorney General Stephanie Lee on behalf of the Attorney General's office.
Thank you. And also present is the petitioner Joel Rivera, and you have chosen to represent yourself today, sir. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And before we went on record, I provided an explanation of the procedures that will be followed. The Deputy Attorney General is going to proceed first to present the petition and provide orientation in this matter. After that, the petitioner will have a right to presentation under oath on his own behalf to explain why he believes that this license should be reinstated. The petitioner may also call witnesses to testify on his behalf. The petitioner and any witnesses will be subject to questioning by the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. The board is particularly concerned with rehabilitation the petitioner may have engaged in. The petitioner is reminded that the board has the benefit of reading the petition package, and the petitioner does not need to repeat the information that is included within that package. After the hearing, the board will go into closed session to deliberate. The petitioner will not receive the decision today, but will receive it in the mail sometime in the future. Mr. Rivera, did you have any questions before we get started?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. With that, Ms. Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The second matter before the board is a petition for reinstatement of Mr. Rivera's field representative's license number 57321, which was issued in branch 2 on June 18, 2019. A procedural summary is as follows. That license was revoked pursuant to an accusation case number 2022-14. The underlying facts of that accusation involved Mr. Rivera sustaining a substantially related conviction in LA County on or about August 12, 2021, in which he was convicted of Penal Code Section 273.5 as a felony, which is spousal injury. Penal Code Section 273A, Subdivision A, as a felony, which is child abuse, and was placed on a 5-year grant of probation. He served 233 days of county jail. He was ordered as a part of his probation to complete a 12-month residential treatment program, as well as a 52-week domestic violence batteries program. There was also a criminal protective order that was issued at the end of that case. This conviction stemmed from an April 2021 arrest in which Mr. Rivera had assaulted his wife by punching her in the back of the head and used scissors to stab her on the arm multiple times while their child was sitting next to his wife, and also attempted to throw a beer can at the wife and his child. The disposition of the accusation case resulted in a default, and so his license was revoked effective April 28th, 2022. There is outstanding cost recovery from that accusation in the amount of $1,618.75. If the board considers reinstating his license, we would ask that that cost recovery, that outstanding cost recovery, be a part of the condition for reinstatement. At this time, Your Honor, we'd ask to have marked and admitted as Exhibit 1 the board's exhibit book, which includes the jurisdictional documents, including the board's letter confirming the hearing date, as well as the petitioner's confirmation. the petitioner's petition, as well as mitigating evidence he's submitted in the form of certificates of completion for his DV batters program, as well as the IVRS Recovery Services Treatment Program. It also includes the board's decision and order in the underlying case, number 2022-14. It includes the board's cost memorandum regarding the outstanding costs, and it includes the certified license histories for all licenses that have been issued to the petitioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera, did you have any objection to the board admitting and considering those documents which have been marked as Exhibit 1?
No.
Exhibit 1 is admitted for all purposes. Anything further, Ms. Lee?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rivera, now will be your opportunity to testify. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please put your hand down. Please state and spell your full name for the record.
Joel Rivera, Joelrivera.
Thank you. So, Mr. Rivera, you may now proceed. This is your opportunity to explain to the board why you believe your license should be reinstated. You may proceed when ready.
Yeah, I can't deny any of that happening. It's something that I have to live with. Losing those licenses, I lost myself.
Would you mind speaking up just a little bit, Mr. Rivera? I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you.
Yeah, losing those licenses, I lost myself. I lost my career. And it's something that, I can't even put into words how horrible I feel about what I did and how I affected California through all of this. And I mean, I just feel horrible about, what I did to my wife and to my son. And I've tried working in other jobs, but it's just always been in the back of my mind, like, I want that license, I want, to complete what I started. And it's been just 4 years, almost 5 years of nothing but rehabs and classes, and then it's just, I'm just, ready to, to get a decision from the board so I can, I can figure my life out too, because it's just been, to me, it's been, just nothing but, this and that. And I just, I'm sorry for what I did and how it affected the pest control board, because I do feel ashamed for what I did, but I am willing to make things right.
Are you concluded with your testimony at this time, Mr. Rivera?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Lee, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Rivera. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are you on any medications or anything this morning, or you have sound mind?
Yes, no medications, sound mind.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify, first of all, one thing about your petition. I believe you had your field representative's license revoked, but you also have an applicator's license that was revoked at the same time. Is that right?
Yes.
And is your petition to have just your field representative's license reinstated or both?
Both. I would do the applicators just to, just to start from the bottom again. I'm not asking for, I mean, if I could, I would get the field rep again and then just continue from there.
Okay, so your goal is to get your field representative's license reinstated. That's your main goal?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go over a little bit about your background. Are you currently married?
Yes.
Are you married to the same spouse that you were during the time of the
Yeah. Yeah.
incident?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And how long have you been together?
Married. It'll be 16 years, and I've known her for almost 20 years.
Have you had any incidents since that time, since the time that you were arrested with your wife?
Just arguments, but nothing, no incidents. Just trying to work through it and just applying everything I was taught in all those classes.
Okay. Have you had any physical altercations with either your wife or your children since the incident?
No.
And can you tell me how many children you have and what their ages are?
Three children, ages 11, 7, and 3.
Are all of those children with your current spouse?
Yes.
You provide financial support for anyone other than yourself?
No, just them and myself.
And do you currently live with your wife and your children?
I do, yeah.
Since you had your license revoked, can you tell us about what kind of work you've had over the past few years?
Well, because of my record, I couldn't really get much work. I started working like at temp agencies, just doing like warehouse.
Is that what Pentel Solutions, that was it, warehouse work?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Elite Staffing, were you also working in the warehouse there?
Yeah, that was the temp agency that, I applied for, and then
Have you been working in the structural pest control arena at all since your license was revoked in any capacity?
I have been helping out a company, just doing like mainly gopher work and just helping out with what I can.
What is the name of the company?
It's called Walworth and Sons.
Could you spell that?
WALWORTH.
And did you work for that company prior to your license being revoked?
No.
What are your anticipated plans? What are your plans if the board reinstates your field representative's license?
I mean, my original plan was just to get all the licenses to become like a master tech and then just own my business at some point.
And besides owning your own business, do you have plans to become an employee for another company?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is Walworth and Sons, is that a potential employer for you if you get your license reinstated? Do they have like any potential openings for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you expand on that?
Just, whatever he wants to do. It's not really my call. I just, he's the boss and I just want to help him out because he's helped me out.
Okay. Have you done any continuing education since your license was revoked?
No, I haven't, mainly because I didn't want to get my hopes up.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your conviction. So you are currently still on probation from that August 2021 conviction, is that right?
No, the probation ended for that
When did your
case.
probation end?
I believe it was in July
July of what year?
of this year.
And what was the reason why your probation ended early?
That was ordered to do. I couldn't find the form. I think I just turned whatever they gave it to me directly to them, but I was ordered to do like 52 weeks of child abuse classes, and that was a condition to finish my probation early.
And did you complete the 52-week DB
I did,
program?
yeah, I did.
You were also required to do a residential treatment program. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did 6 months after I got out of jail. I did 6 months in a rehab center, and then just recently I did one full year at another rehab place.
Okay. Were both of those rehabs court ordered?
The first one was, the second one was voluntary.
Was the second one that you did for a year, was that residential or outpatient?
It was residential and it was through probation.
What does that mean? It was through, did your probation officer order it?
No, they had a program where they would provide a place for me to stay at as long as I met their conditions and would go to classes.
And did you complete that rehab program for the year?
I did, yeah. I submitted that certification.
Okay, so that's the IVS services.
Yeah, that's the one.
What prompted you to join the rehab the second time? Was there any incident or any sort of change in your mindset?
It was just mainly my addiction to alcohol, which was the root cause of how everything happened. And it's still something that I have to manage every day. It's not, I still get, the temptations to drink. But that's just me. Like,
Okay. What did you gain from doing that 1 year in rehab?
just more knowledge of how to cope with my sobriety, and just time to reflect on how much I can lose if I start drinking again.
Do you have a sobriety date now?
I do, yeah.
What is the date?
It's July 15, 25.
Okay. And how did that become your sobriety date? What prompted that?
I was good for a while, and then I would think that, I could beat, I thought, I'm not an alcoholic. I can just have one, but it's never the case for me. It's just how it starts, and then the cycle begins over and over again.
So does that mean, Mr. Rivera, that after you completed that IBS, that second rehab with IBS services, did you have a relapse after that program, that second rehab?
Yeah, I spoke to the counselor and I guess she said it's not a relapse, it's a lapse. And there was, I didn't like, go full blown, into it, but I was still thinking that I could have only one or two, but that was always a mistake on my part because now it just gets worse every time.
What gets worse every time?
How it affects me, this time I'll get sicker fast and my mind just, like my body rejects it now.
Are you currently prescribed any medications to help treat your alcohol disorder?
No, no.
Have you considered taking that kind of prescription medication?
I have, but honestly, I don't like taking medication or being on anything. It's just, to me, as an addict, it's just, slippery slope.
Okay. Are you currently, are you doing any AA or NA meetings?
I do them when I feel like I'm about to, and I have a sponsor also that I can call. And
About how regular, so let's say since July of this year, about how many times have you attended AA or NA meetings?
I've done it maybe twice. Twice, my sponsor recommended me to start going to some, and usually for me, like around the holidays is when I do get vulnerable to drink, and the yeah, this is around the time where I need to start doing those classes again.
Okay. And besides classes, are you doing any kind of therapy or counseling for your alcohol issues?
Not not for that, but for other conditions that I got because of going through all of this. It's been like one thing after another, and just slowly realizing just how everything affected me.
Okay. Since July of 2025, how frequently are you attending either counseling or therapy?
Right now, I just in the process of still finding like a psychiatrist and therapist.
Okay. Have you done therapy or counseling previous to July of 2025, like in the past couple of years or so?
Like in rehabs, there was always counselors that would, I could talk to. And
Okay. So in reviewing your progress reports on probation, you had your probation transfer from LA County to San Bernardino County. Is that right?
yes,
So did you move from LA County to San Bernardino County? Is that what prompted that?
yeah, mainly that was, yeah, I moved out of LA County, and
When did you move?
um I want to say it's been maybe like 2 years. I don't know, I can't remember the exact date.
Sometime after you had your probation transfer to San Bernardino County, I think you had one probation violation. Agree?
Agreed, yeah.
Okay. And what was the basis for that probation violation? That was back in 2023, right? So you were about 2 years into your probation.
There was a protective order that was lifted from LA County that I never transferred to San Bernardino County. And because of the confusion, which I should have followed up on. Honestly, I was talking to my wife, which in LA County, the judge, said it was okay. And they did violate me for, contacting her.
And what is the current status of any protective order between you and your wife? Is there one?
No, as far as I know, there's not. But
Okay. It looks like according to your probation reports, the last thing that we see in terms of a protective order is a no negative contact protective order. Does that sound familiar to you?
yeah, that one, yeah, that was just as long as it was peaceful.
Okay. And so currently, is there still a no negative contact order in place as a part of your probation?
No, probation is over now, and
Okay.
this should have been all terminated altogether.
Okay. Do you have any other convictions that this board is not aware of besides what we've discussed?
No.
And are there any current criminal charges pending against you in this state or any other state?
No.
Do you accept responsibility for the acts that led to your license discipline back in 2021?
Absolutely, yes.
Um, how can the board? So you've been pretty honest about your journey through your managing your alcohol issues. How can the board be assured that the conduct that happened in 2021 won't happen again? Has there been any, in other words, since your last relapse or lapse, have you made any changes to your lifestyle or your environment that you think are helpful?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just taking it day by day and identifying triggers that can lead to my drinking. And overall, like religion based, like church based, praying a lot, meditating, and just believing that this will come out for good.
Do you attend church or do you work with your church?
I have attended church, and I'm still working through things where I want to like eventually just permanently be, even I say like, because I play piano, to play at a church.
So those are plans that you have for yourself in the future. You have not done them yet.
No, not yet, but I know like playing at a church, I couldn't be doing, drinking and doing it at the same time. So for me, it's just the better option to keep me away from drinking.
Okay. If the board were to reinstate your license but place it on probation with probation terms, is that something you'd be willing to accept?
Yes.
And if you I think there were some outstanding costs from your underlying accusation case. Are you willing and able to pay those costs back to the board?
Yeah, I'd have to work out like the finances, but yeah, absolutely.
So is there any other information that you would like the board to know that we have not covered in our questions and answers?
No.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We will now proceed to questions from the board, starting with Vice President Finley.
Hey, good morning. Currently, you're helping out with Walworth and Sons. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what's that look like as far as time commitment?
It's only a little bit of hours. It's just like part-time, really.
And is it something that if you had a license, they're saying once you had a license, we could have you full time? What's the story there?
Yeah, something like that. It would be up to him, but that would be like the outcome to help him out more.
With no definition of exactly what your role would change there if you have the license. You guys haven't talked about that?
I mean, he has like a second truck that, he hasn't been using, and he's kind of been waiting on me and these licenses.
Okay. And as I understand it, you don't have any other work at this time besides doing that part-time.
No.
And like, why do you feel like you haven't had success with these other job opportunities, but that you will have success in doing this if you had a license? Like, what's been happening with the success of these other jobs?
The success, you mean like working at a warehouse?
Not success of these other jobs, yeah.
You know what? Honestly, I like the industry. Just like Juan said, I get to work outside. I get to see the city. I get to see new places. And to me, it's something new every day. You get to see something new every day. And just working, in the warehouse setting, I've done that before, and I did it for the money too. And this industry is just, I like it. It has a lot of opportunities, and and I have, two other brothers that work for the pest control industry too. So, just seeing them, how they do things, and me kind of missing out on stuff. I just want to get back to where I was.
So is your wife currently working? Or are you on unemployment? How are you able to provide for the family?
Right now, just to like financial assistance from the state, which is what I also want to get off of.
Okay.
No,
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Mendenhall.
I have no current questions.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Paxson.
I have no questions either. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Tengen.
No comments.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera, did you have any further testimony you wish to provide?
no.
Ms. Lee, any further questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And just final check, any final board questions? Seeing none, Mr. Rivera, thank you for your testimony today. I now excuse you as a witness. Are there any other witnesses you wish the board to hear from?
No.
And did you have any further documents other than what you included in your petition that you want the board to consider?
No.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask if the matter is submitted, meaning that all parties have had an opportunity to present evidence, and the matter can be concluded. Mr. Rivera, is the matter now submitted?
Yes.
Ms. Lee, matter submitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. With that, the matter is submitted. The record is closed and we are off the record. If you could please stay put for a moment, Mr. Rivera, if possible, our court reporter may need some information from you. Ms. Esquivel Parkinson, did you need any information from the parties?
No, I'm fine. And the time is 10:23 with 20 pages.
Thank you. There was one spelling I just wanted to get down. You said you're working for a temp company named something like Pentel Solutions. Could you spell the name of that company, sir?
Yeah. PENTEL.
Thank you. All right, with that, the matter is concluded. Mr. Rivera, you are free to depart and you'll receive a decision in due course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say good luck, sir, and keep moving forward.
Thank you.
And Mr. Finley, did the board need to take another break or are we ready to move on to the next matter?
We are ready to move on. Thank you.
Okay. I think, let's see, is the next petitioner Jeremy Budden on? Let me just go through a few housekeeping matters and then we'll get started with your hearing. Mr. Budden, did you receive the petition packet that was uploaded by Ms. Lee as the evidence packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In terms of process, I'm not sure, just with all the tech issues, I'm going to repeat some of the prior instructions just to make sure you're on the same page because I know you've been coming in and out with the devices. So the process will work that once we go on the record and start the hearing, Ms. Lee will present the background and provide orientation on this matter, and then you will have your opportunity to present evidence. The burden of proof to establish that you're entitled to the relief you're seeking is on you. And then what will happen after the hearing is you will get a written decision after the hearing sometime in the future. You will not find out about the results today. We do have a court reporter here who's going to take down everything that's being said. So it's important that everybody, one, not talk over each other, and two, speak loudly and clearly so she can get down what's being said. Did you have any questions before we get started, Mr. Budden?
No, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Esquivel-Parkinson, are you ready to get going?
Yes, I am.
Okay. With that, we are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board to review the petition to modify or terminate probation of Jeremy Budden. This is Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 2025090091. My name is Christopher Dietrich. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and I have been assigned to preside over this matter. Before we went on record today, we established that there was a quorum of the board present. May I please have the appearance of our court reporter?
Maria Esquivel-Parkinson, CSR number 10621.
Thank you. And appearance of the Deputy Attorney General.
Good morning, Your Honor. Deputy Attorney General Stephanie Lee on behalf of the Attorney General's office.
Thank you. And also present today is Jeremy Budden, and you are choosing to represent yourself. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am going to, before we went on the record, I did provide a brief explanation of the procedures. As I explained, the Deputy Attorney General will proceed first to present the petition and provide background orientation in this matter. After that, the petitioner has the opportunity to make a presentation under oath on his own behalf to explain why he believes that he is entitled to have his probation terminated early or modified. The petitioner may also call witnesses to testify on his own behalf. The petitioner and any witnesses will be subject to questioning by the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. The board is particularly concerned with any rehabilitation that the petitioner may have engaged in, and the petitioner is reminded that the board does have the benefit of reading the petition package, and it is not necessary to repeat everything that's included in the petition package. After the hearing, the board will go into closed session to deliberate, and a written decision will follow in the mail sometime in the future. Any questions before we get going, Mr. Budden?
No, sir.
All right. With that, Ms. Lee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The third petition matter before this board this morning is a petition to reduce and terminate the probation of Mr. Budden regarding his applicator's license number 68243, which was issued in branches 2 and 3, pursuant to a statement of issues. The underlying statement of issues case, which was case number 2023-7, was based on a substantially related conviction that Mr. Budden sustained back in 1995 in Tehama County, Tehama, for Penal Code Section 187 Subdivision A, which was murder in the first degree. He was sentenced to an indeterminate sentence of 25 years to life in state prison, as well as a $10,000 restitution fine. Mr. Budden was released. He served that sentence and was released on parole around July of 2021. And he asserts in his petition that since then he was discharged from parole on or around April 4th of 2023. The statement of issues resulted in the issuance of Mr. Budden's applicator's license effective June 15, 2023. That license was placed on 5 years of probation, and it also was subject to the probation terms that if Mr. Budden were to be issued any other licenses while on probation, that those subsequent licenses would also be placed on probation. As such, he has been issued a field representative's license, number 67910 in branch 3, in August of 2024, and that license was also placed on probation. At this time, Your Honor, we'd asked to have marked and admitted as Exhibit 1 the board's exhibit book, which includes the jurisdictional documents in this case, including the board's letter confirming the hearing date, the petitioner's confirmation, Mr. Budden's petition, as well as the mitigation evidence that he submitted related to his petition. It also includes the board's decision and order from the statement of issues, case number 2023-07. It includes the board's probation records showing Mr. Budden's progress on his board probation, and it includes the certified license histories of all licenses that were issued to Mr. Budden. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Budden, any objection to the board reviewing and considering those documents which have been marked as Exhibit 1?
No. There may have been a question on the charge year, but no, I don't think so.
With that, Exhibit 1 is admitted for all purposes. Ms. Lee, anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Budden, now will be your opportunity to present your information. I'm going to first swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please put your hand down and please state and spell your full name.
Jeremy Budden, Jeremy, space Budden.
Thank you. So, Mr. Budden, now is your opportunity to present any information you wish the board to consider to determine why you believe you're entitled to the relief sought in your petition. With that, you may go ahead, sir.
I don't wish to take up much of your time. I submitted everything in a written packet that I was given, and I believe you guys have on record now, and that's all I need to submit today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now you'll be subject to questioning from Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee, go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Budden. I just want to clarify from your petition, I think you may have only listed one of your licenses. Are you asking for both your applicators and field representatives licenses to be taken off probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And let's go over a little bit of your...
I didn't know if I needed to clarify that when I did the paperwork. I believe they said it was whichever was the higher in content, so that's the one I petitioned for.
Okay. Let's go over a little bit about your personal background. Are you currently, what is your current marital status?
Single.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
Can you tell me how many children and what their ages are?
3, 16, 3, and 1.5.
And do you provide financial support for anybody other than yourself?
My children.
Do you have physical custody of your children?
Yes.
You are currently employed with Moxie Pest Control, MOXIE, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you come upon that employment? How did they hire you?
I did an Indeed registration, and then I went in for a physical interview, and I was summarily hired about 2 days later when I got the call back.
Okay. And did you know the owner of Moxie Pest Control before that, or did you have any history with them?
No.
And what are your current day-to-day duties at Moxie Pest Control?
Currently, I am on leave because I was in an accident while on the job. So this last year, I've been home recovering from multiple surgeries because of that accident. And but currently, they are 0 at the moment.
And before you had to go on medical leave, what were your day-to-day duties?
I was a tech in the field, and before I had my branch 3, when I got that, I was beginning to do inspections and for termites and escrow.
And are you, while you're on leave, are you currently still an employee of Moxie?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have plans to go back to Moxie after
Yes, ma'am.
after your recovery? I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have an anticipated return date as of now?
As of this moment, no. I'm still looking at least one more surgery that it's being presented and in the mix right now. So I'm just having to wait for that and then my recovery, and then I can get back to work. But no
Okay.
projected date at this time.
What are your plans if the board terminates the probation for your licenses?
To go forward with more licensure, I would like to go for my operators and possibly do branch management. So just a continuation of my skill set, my livelihood, and the industry.
Do you plan to pursue those promotional opportunities within Moxie or
Yes.
out on your own?
With Moxie, if I can.
And was Moxie your first employer out of being discharged from state prison?
No.
Did you work before Moxie between your discharge date and before working for Moxie?
Yes.
What kind of work did you do?
I worked with Chrysalis out of Anaheim, which is pretty much a conduit of Roads Crew, which is attached to Caltrans.
Okay, so you were doing road work.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit about the continuing education that you've done since being issued your licenses?
Continuing education as far as keeping my license up to date, keeping them current. I've done a lot of work before I even have the licenses because I have a lot of other skill sets outside of this pest control industry, but this is the one I got into, and I have just kept that up.
Okay, and in terms of your parole discharge date, were you discharged from parole earlier than your expected date?
Yes, ma'am.
What was
About
the
a year
reason
and a
for
half
that?
early. Everything I had accomplished, everything I had seen through, my rehabilitation status, my behavioral status, everything was on board for an early termination. And I had multiple parole officers, district manager, operators out of the Sky Center in Irvine petitioned for me to be released from parole early as well. And when that was originally discounted and denied, I petitioned the board in Sacramento directly, and within 4 months, I was released from parole and all vestiges of CDCR.
Just a quick, Ms. Lee, before you ask the next question, just a quick interjection. Mr. Budd, if you could try to pause a moment to make sure that Ms. Lee is done with her question before you start answering, just makes the court reporter's job a lot easier if you do that. And
Yes,
also,
sir.
I think we're just getting a bit of feedback or some sort of sound coming in from the board room. So I don't know what's causing that, but if there's anything that can be done to address that, that'd be great. Ms. Lee, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. While you were on parole, did you have any parole violations?
No,
Do you have any other convictions that this board is not aware of besides what we've discussed?
no,
Are there any current criminal charges pending against you in this state or any other state?
no.
So part of this exhibit book, have you had a chance to review everything, including the probation records?
Yes, ma'am.
So the board included all of your quarterly reports since you've been on probation. It looks like a handful of them were received by the board maybe 2 days after the due date. Can you explain to the board any reason for the delay in those handful of quarterly reports?
Oversight on the SPCB board because all of mine were submitted either directly on the date of request or within the 10 days given to me.
Within the 10 days given to you from that due date, you mean?
Yes, ma'am. As part of the provisions in those rulings.
As stated in your probation conditions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then there was one other thing that the board had noted in terms of your employer's written notification, which was due in July of 2023, right when you started, and it was not received until November of 2023. Could you provide the board an explanation as to that?
I'm not sure if I did or if my employer did. It was an oversight on the employer, not mine. And he thought that it was already submitted. And when it wasn't, we learned surprisingly that it wasn't. And so he tried to correct that as soon as possible. And again, not any control of mine. So I wasn't sure or as to why it wasn't either received or receipted at the time.
Okay. Would you agree that ultimately, because you're the probationer, ultimately it's your responsibility to have your employer do it on time, even if your employer, sorry, let me finish the question, even if your employer was perhaps delayed or forgot about it?
Yes, ma'am. And I did follow up. Again, I don't have an option to pressure people to do things. And all I could do was check for the receipt and check in with Melissa Sawyer to make sure that things were arriving on time for her, which was my contact with the SPCB. And that's really all I can do. And I just kept following up until we were summarily notified again, I believe, through written notification, and went through the process again to submit my employer's letter of notification of my situation and my status.
Okay. Now, in reviewing your petition, Mr. Budden, did you fill out the responses yourself or did you have anybody help you?
I filled them out myself.
Would it be fair to say, in reviewing your responses in your petition, you expressed some frustration with being placed on probation in the first place? Is that
Yes,
fair
ma'am.
to say? You talked over my question. I didn't hear your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Could you provide a little bit of explanation as to why you felt that frustration about being placed on probation to begin with?
One of the questions I can clearly point to asks me if I am in agreement with the probation portion placed on me because of the violations that I've committed. And I have to absolutely say no, because I have not violated anything as far as the SPCB is concerned, or the industry, or the field. So yes, I did have some frustration in that. And I have completely seen through my sentence in this state, my restitution to any victims involved, secondary or tertiary, and yes, it was very frustrating to be placed on a probation when I was on the highest caliber of parole for the state, and they released me much earlier than a 3-year cap that they could have held me on, and yet I have to face 5 years of probation with an industry or a field that I have committed no violations in.
Okay. Now, in terms of the rehabilitation evidence you submitted, a large portion of that was a package that you submitted in order to get your license issued. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any information that you want to provide to the board as an update? Like, is there any community work that you do, anything that is maybe updated from that package?
No, ma'am. I have 30 years of rehabilitation, college education, skill sets. So I'm not sure what else I could submit to this board to, give credence to my ability to do this job.
Okay, and Mr. Budden, is there any other information that you would like to provide the board that may not be in these documents or in the questions that we've gone over today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now proceed to board member questions, starting with Vice President Finley.
Thank you, Jeremy. I just had a comment on one. I just wanted to say, like, I understand your frustration, but I also, our job as a board is to protect the consumer. So it's not necessarily whether it was a violation in our industry or not. It was just the board's main purpose is to protect the public. So obviously, because of the past conviction, is why I think it was placed on probation. Thank you for being honest and open about all of that. So I do understand the frustration of something that happened 30 years ago and where you're at today and the difference. And I applaud you on all that. But I just want you to understand, our job is to protect the consumer of the state of California. And so someone coming in, it's not necessarily you're put on probation because of something you did in our industry. It's just something from the past that we have to monitor as well. So I just wanted to make a comment on that. Is the role, I know Ms. Lee had asked on an approximate return date. I mean, is that something, you said you have one more surgery. Is it something, it's 1 year out, it's 6 months out? Do you have any kind of timeline on that?
I'm hoping everything can be completed and surgery and rehabilitation and back to the job within 6 months, hopefully. But of course, I have very little control over certain things because there are lawyers involved, because I was actually on the job when I was in a multiple car pileup and we were hit by a semi truck on the 405 here in California. So it was a big to do, and yeah, I've already had back surgery, shoulder surgery, so it's just been a rough road this last year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's getting hit by a semi truck, definitely a different kind of injury that takes you out for a while. But the plans are to go back to Moxie once you're able to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And will the role change? I mean, has the role been affected by have a probationary license? Is your role different or will be different if it's not on probation?
Perhaps because I am not allowed to actually pursue certain licenses because of the probation, or I'm not allowed to effectively perform their duties like an operator's license. I'm not allowed to be in a position of a branch manager or an operator if I even have the license because of the probation. I have to actually discharge that first before I can perform the duties of it. So yes, certain things that if I wish to pursue or go forward with cannot be practically done if I'm on probation, just simply because of the rules regarding that.
Around the probation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have no more further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Mendenhall.
No questions at this point.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Paxson.
No questions for me either.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Tengen.
No questions.
Thank you. Mr. Budden, did you have any further testimony you wish to provide?
I would just like to clarify that I do understand the board's view and the statement of protecting the public. Absolutely, completely behind that. My frustration for clarification did simply come from the line of questioning was always, do I agree with the violations that I have been accused of? So yes, that was basically my frustration and not the point of the public safety. I have total regard for that. So I appreciate the clarification from the board on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Budden. Ms. Lee, any further questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And last chance for any board questions. Seeing none, Mr. Budden, I will excuse you as a witness at this time. Thank you for your testimony. Did you have any documents other than what was submitted in your petition that you wanted the board to consider?
No, thank you.
And did you have any other witnesses you wish the board to hear from?
No, sir.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask if the matter is submitted, meaning that each side has had an opportunity to present all evidence and that the matter is handed over to the board for their decision. Mr. Budden, is the matter now submitted?
Submitted. Thank you.
And Ms. Lee, matter submitted?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. With that, the matter is submitted. The record is closed and we are now off the record. If you could just stay put for a moment, Mr. Budden, it's possible our court reporter may need some information or spellings. Miss Escobedo Parkinson.
Thank
Yes, just one moment. Okay, you worked with Chrysalis out of Anaheim.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you spell that? Is that a name or, I mean, a person's name?
No, it is the
Well, how do you spell it?
CHRYSILIS, I believe.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need.
And then end time and estimated page count.
1102 and 11 pages.
Thank you. That concludes everything, Mr. Budden. Thank you for your time. You will receive a decision in the near future. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
And since that's all our petitions, I'll pass it over to Mr. Finley.
Thank you so much. We will move to agenda item 6. We're adjourning to closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126, Subdivision C3. The board will meet in closed session to discuss and take action on disciplinary matters, including the petitions heard today. Following the closed session, we will return to open session. We're returning to open session. We need to start with a roll call, so if you could do that for us, Sophia.
Okay, Vice President Finley,
Here.
Board Member Mendenhall,
Here.
Board Member Paxson,
Here.
and Board Member Tingen.
Here.
We have 4 present. That's a quorum.
Okay, with a quorum established, we will proceed with our agenda. We are on agenda item number 7, discussion and possible approval of the March 12, 2025 board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Can I have the date of the meeting and the
Yes, it was March
motion?
12, 2025.
Right.
Move to approve the minutes for the board meeting of March 12th, 2025.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. I will now open the floor to public comment on this motion. None. Do we need to go public comment online? Okay. Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve March.
We do have online participants via WebEx.
Yes, no.
Okay, so Yes, I'm passing. Yes. Perfect.
All right, WebEx is open for public comment on the motion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. People will be given 3 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a warning before your time expires. Seeing no request for public comment via WebEx, do you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes. So it has been moved and seconded to approve the March 12th, 2025 meeting minutes. Sophia, please call the roll.
Vice President Finley,
Yes.
Board Member Mendenhall,
Yes.
Board Member Tingen,
Yes.
and Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
Okay, agenda item number 8, the California Department of Pesticide Regulation update. We will now hear from Beth Boss, Senior Environmental Scientist with DPR, who is joining us virtually. Following the update, I open the floor to public comment.
Good afternoon, members of the Structural Pest Control Board. My name is Beth Boss. I am a Senior Environmental Scientist Specialist with DPR's Enforcement Headquarters Branch, and I'm here to provide DPR's update to the board. So thank you very much for having me. A few updates to share with you, starting with structural regulatory training. From September 16th to 18th of 2025, so just a few weeks ago, DPR, in collaboration with the Structural Pest Control Board, hosted this year's structural regulatory training in Dublin, California. This basic level training provided attendees with information regarding the Structural Pest Control Board, structural inspection criteria, and resources for structural investigations. It also featured demonstration stations for each licensure category staffed by industry volunteers. The department would like to thank Best Care Fumigation NorCal Inc. and Advanced IPM for their support at the demo stations. A total of 79 county agricultural commissioner staff representing 36 counties participated in this year's SRT. The next SRT is expected to take place in Southern California sometime in 2026. As for enforcement letters related to structural that have been released since our last board meeting update, in June, DPR issued enforcement letter 25-08 regarding the impending changes brought forth by the new sulfuryl fluoride labels for Vicane and Zythor. Enforcement letter 25-08 provided a high-level overview of the changes and included a highlight of the new site-specific fumigation log requirements. As a part of this letter, an optional interim form was enclosed to provide applicators with a resource to document the criteria items specific to the label site-specific fumigation log requirements. Additionally, enforcement letter 25-09 was issued in July. This letter provided CACs with the most recent disciplinary review committee's decision regarding Mr. Reyes Castraleon's RNC fume appeal of the civil penalty levied by Fresno County Agricultural Commissioner Office. And as a note, a personnel update with DPR Director Julie Henderson's appointment to her role in the beginning of 2025. Her previous role as Chief Deputy Director was vacated. Effective April of 2025, Leah Bailey was appointed as DPR's Chief Deputy Director. Chief Deputy Director Bailey has been with the department since 2021, serving as the Deputy Director of Communications and Outreach. And with that, that concludes my update for DPR.
Thank you so much. Let's open the floor to public comment. Yes, Jim.
Recently, DPR, is this working?
Okay. So recently DPR announced some proposed changes to the use of rodenticides that included an educational component. And it was unclear whether or not the required educational component would work towards the continuing education that is overseen by the board. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to the board's attention and see if in that dialogue we could make sure that if there's an additional education requirement as a part of the new re-registration, that we wouldn't have belt and suspenders, that we could have education that also works towards our CE credits. Thank you, Jim. Okay, do we want to open it up to public comment online?
WebEx is now taking public comment on agenda item 8. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no online requests, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes. And thank you again, Beth, over there at DPR.
Thank you.
Agenda item 9, discussion and possible approval of research proposals recommended by the Research Advisory Panel. The executive officer will present the panel's recommended research proposals.
Thank you. So following the March board meeting, the board issued a request for proposals for researchers, to researchers for potential interest in submitting research proposals. We received 5 proposals as a result of the RFP. Those proposals and the summary of each of those is in the board meeting materials. I also have, if anyone is interested, they're online, as well as I have a binder here with the entirety of each proposal. On August 4th of 2025, the proposals were distributed to all members of the panel, along with scoring sheets and instructions to evaluate each of the submissions using the criteria outlined in the RFP. Board staff then received and compiled all the scores, the evaluations, prepared a summary of all the scores, the budget considerations, and my recommendation to the panel based on those scores, and we presented those to the panel during the August 27th, 2025 meeting. That's also in your board meeting material. So the Research Advisory Panel recommends that the board endorse the top 4 proposals, which is rodenticide exposures in coyotes, RNAi solutions for Argentine ants, German cockroaches, and drywood termites. And the panel also recommends that the board endorse these top 4 and authorize the executive officer to make any additional non-substantive changes necessary to finalize the contracting process. And that concludes my presentation. I'll turn it back to you or to the board for a motion. I have in the material, I think I have the action requested there for a possible motion.
Where is that? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve? Let me turn my mic on. Do I have a motion to approve the RAP's recommendation?
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I will now open the floor to public comment. Hearing none, I'll turn it online.
WebEx is now open for public comment on the motion and agenda item 9. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment longer to see if we have a request for public comment. Our first request is coming from Neil Sutsi. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires.
Hi, this is Neil Tsutsui at UC Berkeley, and I just wanted to take a brief moment to thank the Research Advisory Committee staff and the board for their continued support of research on new techniques in structural pest control in California. It really makes a difference, really fills a gap in funding, and is so important. So I thank you, and that completes my comment.
Thank you so much, Neil.
And that was our only request for public comment on this matter.
Okay, thank you. So just to clarify, the action requested in the motion was the RAP recommends that the board endorse the top 4 proposals: rodenticide exposure in coyotes, RNAi solutions for Argentine ants, German cockroaches, and drywood termites, and authorize the executive officer to make any additional non-substantive changes necessary to finalize the contracting process. Okay, so it has been.
Is that okay?
Well, now we did open the floor to public comment. It has been moved and seconded to approve the RFP recommendation. Sophia, can you please take a roll call?
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yes.
That clarification on the motion, is that okay with both my motion and my second?
I'm sorry, what was the?
He was clarifying the motion, and I wanted to make sure it was okay with you as it was your motion. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabina. Okay, Sophia, please call the roll.
And can I add one additional before we take roll?
We'll have the.
One additional, I just want, just for informational purposes, we won't have to go through this process again until about 2030. These proposals will go for the next about 4 years.
Okay.
These projects.
There's no changes to the.
No.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. And Sophia, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Vice President Finley.
Yes.
Board Member Mendenhall.
Yes.
Board Member Tingen.
Yes.
And Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
4-0, motion passes.
Okay, thank you so much. We're on to agenda item 10, regulations. The executive officer will present agenda item 10.
Thank you. This item relates to the board's examination requirements. Under Business and Professions Code Section 8525, the board has the authority to adopt rules and regulations to administer and enforce the Structural Pest Control Act. 8560 also gives the board authority to develop and administer examinations. However, our regulations do not currently specify exam requirements, and that creates gaps in transparency and consistency in our licensing processes and standards. DCA's Office of Professional Examination Services, or OPES, works with this board and various other boards and bureaus within the department to develop and validate examinations. Their work follows statute, professional guidelines, and national technical standards. OPES has completed an occupational analysis of all of the license types and developed examination outlines to ensure our exams measure the minimum competencies necessary for safe entry-level practice. By formalizing these requirements in regulation, we just strengthen our consumer protection mandate, and we make sure that our exams are aligned with established standards. Currently, the board's regulations do not reflect its actual exam practices, nor do they reference the federal certification standards that's set forth by the US EPA. In 2018, EPA strengthened their standards requiring adoption of federal core standards for commercial applicators and evidence that the exam measures the minimum competency. To comply with those requirements, the board is proposing amendments to CCR sections 1940, 1941, and 1942, as well as the adoption of a new section 1940.1. These changes will establish minimum standards and procedures for the applicator, field rep, and operator examinations. They will also incorporate by reference the OPES examination outlines and EPA's federal core standards. The draft language for this package was first reviewed and approved by the board in August of 2024. At that time, we paused the rulemaking to prioritize the fee increase regulations. Since then, staff and legal counsel have refined the language to improve clarity and ensure compliance with the federal and the state requirements. So the updated text is now before the board for approval to move forward in the rulemaking process. Staff recommends that the board rescind the prior March 2025 motion, August 2024 motion on this item, and either approve the proposed regulatory text, which is option A on your memo, or approve the text with any specific changes that you may have, which is option B on the memo. And Christy Shield, which is, I'll let you introduce yourself. She's with our legal counsel with our legal unit.
Good afternoon. This is Christy Shields, Regulations Counsel, attorney for the Department of Consumer Affairs, Legal Affairs Division. I've been assigned to assist the board, hopefully with finalizing soon, this regulation proposal. We appreciate your patience. I know you've been through a couple Regulations Counsel, but we've been working really hard to get this one done. When it was assigned to me, I spoke with your executive officer, and she and I identified some errors in the language that was approved in March 2025. And so we're bringing this back to you because we want to make sure that it's, consistent with what we've seen in other regulatory packages where boards are updating their examination regulations. And as, Ms. Azar mentioned, one of the issues with the prior text was that we didn't actually have as complete coverage of all the exam content for your various examinations. And you're lucky today that you're going to have an Office of Professional Examination Services agenda item that discusses really thoroughly the process of how we validate all the examinations that you give. All of your examinations have been validated by the Office of Professional Examination Services in accordance with Business and Professions Code Section 139, which requires each board in this department to prove that their examinations are legally valid. Validated is what that means. And so we have this division in the department that does that. And they produce a report to validate each one of your examinations, and it's called an occupational analysis. Within that occupational analysis, there is an exam content outline that specifies all the subject matter that your examinations might cover. And so that content outline is given to each one of your candidates before they take an examination. It's included in their candidate handbook. Unfortunately, your regulations haven't caught up to that. And so this new language we're bringing back would actually tell people where the content outlines are, where they're published, and then incorporate those content subject matters formally in regulation. So in addition to the update that she mentioned about coming into compliance with EPA regulations, we've added that. So if you look at, it's a lot longer than your last draft because those occupational analysis reports titles are kind of lengthy, but we're trying to be accurate and transparent and consistent with your current examination process. So I also have here today Navdeep D.P. Miller, your new board regulations counsel. She'll be assisting me with this package and all your other future packages. So I don't know if you want to say.
Hi, everyone. My name is D.P. Miller. I have been at DCA now in legal department as regs counsel since May, and I'm coming from a private practice background primarily. I was at Winston and Strawn and then Greenberg Traurig previously. At Greenberg, I did a lot with Prop 65, so I have some structural pest knowledge and worked from a different side, not on the state regulator side, but as far as getting various chemicals listed or not. And so I'm happy to work with you all. And it's nice to meet you, Sophia, in person finally.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
So if you have any questions that we can help you with, let us know. We're here to help.
Any questions?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a technical question. In the regulations, you incorporate a federal regulation by reference, and I'm wondering if I've never seen that. And so is it, and I don't know if you're signed, so maybe you already have the answer to this question, because to me, the best way to do it would be, cite the regulation as may be amended from time to time.
Right.
Is OAL not accepting that?
No, they're not. This is a recent development with the Office of Administrative Law where they are requiring us, when we cite to a federal law or regulation, to actually pick a point in time, which is really difficult to do because, we want to have the current version
Right.
and then we have to keep updating it, right? So it's really not a very flexible way to approach it.
Because if the feds change the regulation, that means we have to do a rulemaking
Yes.
to comply with OAL.
Right. Wow. So a couple of other clients have already been snared in this sort of regulatory net. And so I'm trying to avoid those pitfalls by addressing what they consider to be the standard for citing to federal. I can pull up older regulations that don't, but this is a different Office of Administrative Law than it was when I started 25 years ago.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, this is the problem with OAL. They changed
Yes.
the rules and
They have.
nothing else matters. Okay, that was my only question because I was going to hopefully.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
So we're requesting moving option A if you don't have any changes.
I'm not going to make the motion because Sabina will make me read it.
Yes, yes, I will read it. Sorry.
I'll go ahead. So we don't have any changes, so it's option A, right? I'll move to rescind the motion passed at the board's March 2025 board meeting regarding this item, approve the proposed regulatory text in attachments A through I, and direct staff to submit the text to the Director of the Department of Consumer Affairs and the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency for review. If the board does not receive any objections or adverse recommendations specifically directed at the proposed action or to the procedures followed by the board in proposing or adopting this action, authorize the executive officer to take all steps necessary to initiate the rulemaking process, make any non-substantive changes to the package, and set the matter for a hearing if requested. If no objections or adverse recommendations are received during the 45-day comment period and no hearing is requested, authorize the executive officer to take all steps necessary to complete the rulemaking and adopt the proposed regulations at 16 CCR sections 1940, 1940.1, 1941, and 1942 as noticed.
I will second that.
And you can thank OAL for that motion too.
Okay, Finley will second. And I will now open the floor to public comment. Seeing none, online comments?
WebEx is open up for public comment on agenda item 10 and the motion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes. It has been moved and seconded. Sophia, can you please call the roll?
Vice President Finley,
Yes.
Board Member Mendenhall,
Yes.
Board Member Tingan,
Yes.
Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you, DP.
Okay, agenda item 11, Office of Professional Examination Services, presentation and recommendation for changes to the board's examination and development process. I will again hand the meeting over to our executive officer, to the executive officer.
Thank you. We have the Office of Professional Examination Services here that will introduce themselves, and they have a PowerPoint presentation to provide. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Welch-Gandy from the Office first speaking from for this 1 month.
The push button.
There we go. All right. Good afternoon. I'm Amy Welch-Gandy from the Office of Professional Examination Services, or OPES, we call ourselves. And I'm with Ganesh Kumar, who is your test specialist, and he works on all of the exams that we develop for your board. And we are here to give you an overview of OPES, along with a high-level overview of the occupational analysis process and the results of the 2025 Field Representative Branch 2 and Operator occupational analyses that we recently conducted. We're also going to provide 2 recommendations regarding, 1, the number of items on the Field Rep Branch 2 and Operator Branch 2 examinations, and a recommendation related to the passing score methodology. So OPES currently works with 24 of DCA's boards, bureaus, and committees through interagency contracts. We develop California-specific licensure examinations, and we evaluate national examinations that are used for licensure in California. We also provide consulting to all DCA programs on examination-related issues or answer questions that they have related to examinations. OPES has 10 test specialists who are educated and trained in licensure examinations, and we make our recommendations based on laws, DCA policy, professional standards. And as I mentioned, Ganesh is your test specialist. He's going to give you an overview of the OA results. So Business and Professions Code Section 139, you heard that mentioned earlier. That was created in 1999 and applies to all DCA boards and bureaus. Business and Professions Code 139 was developed to help ensure that all licensure examinations used by DCA are psychometrically sound, job-related, and legally defensible. They must be based on a current occupational analysis of the profession, and they must meet technical standards for validity. Business and Professions Code Section 139 requires that boards submit annually a report indicating the date of their most recent occupational analysis and information about their licensure examinations. OPES compiles this information for DCA and submits it to the legislature. Business and Professions Code 139 also mandates that all national examinations be reviewed in accordance with these policies. And these are the policies and guidelines that we have developed to help boards and bureaus implement 139, the mandate, it's an ongoing process. And first, OPS has developed specific licensure examination validation policy for DCA, and this policy is updated as industry standards evolved. OPES has developed other policies and department memorandums to provide a structure for examination development and evaluation work. OPES policy specifies that the standards for education and psychological testing are to be followed when evaluating licensure examination programs. We refer to them as the standards, and these standards are universally accepted by testing professionals across the country. The standards specifically are designed to help ensure that examinations are fair, valid, and reliable. Taking a look at the big picture, the purpose of a licensing examination is to protect the public, and the purpose of the examination is also to identify those practitioners who can practice safely and competently from those who can't. Licensure examinations must be developed to provide a valid and reliable method for doing this, and to be fair, when we are making decisions about who is legally allowed to practice, we must focus on entry-level tasks and knowledge, which are important for public protection. When licensure examinations are developed, it is critical that the examination protect consumers while not limiting access. And it's a balance that we try to find between these two goals. And we use subject matter experts, or SMEs, and they are licensees who are currently practicing and in good standing with the board. SMEs must be involved in all phases of the licensure examination development process. The first step in developing a valid and reliable examination is to develop a detailed description of the content domains to be measured. And we do this by conducting an occupational analysis. Sometimes it's called a job analysis or a practice analysis. And we conduct these about every 5 years or so. So we completed the branch 2 in 2025. So we would likely complete the next round in 2030. The occupational analysis is a study of the profession designed to identify the important tasks that new licensees must be able to perform safely and competently at the time of licensure, and also the essential knowledge required to effectively perform the tasks. The occupational analysis is the first step in what we call the cycle of exam development, and it provides, again, that detailed description, which is divided into content domains, and it's an outline for the examination. The next step is that we work with SMEs to write test questions. So all of the test questions that are used for your exams are written by licensees. Then they're reviewed by licensees. They are selected. We have exam construction, and then sometimes we have passing score. As I mentioned before, SMEs are critical to the process and required by psychometric standards. OPES works with your board to select a representative group of SMEs. SMEs should reflect the profession as far as specialties, work location. They should have a valid license and be in good standing. And the right group of SMEs ensures that all of the areas of practice are represented, including individuals licensed 5 years or fewer, to provide a focus on entry-level practice. The Structural Pest Control Board licensure examinations are developed in adherence to legal and professional standards. Licensees, again, participate in all steps of the process. Through the occupational analysis, the subsequent examination outline, and with subject matter expert input, the examinations are supported by evidence of content validity. Classical test theory is used in both the development and scoring of the examinations. And I'm going to turn it over to Ganesh now to talk about the 2 OAs that we conducted for the field rep branch 2 and operator branch 2.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so we did the occupation analysis for branch 2 operator and field rep after almost a good 7 years. The last one was done in 2015 and 17. So it was much needed, and thankfully we were able to complete it. The first step in developing a valid and reliable examination, whether at the national or state level, is to develop a detailed description of the content domains to be measured. We do this by conducting what is called as the occupation analysis, as mentioned earlier. It may also be sometimes called as a job analysis or practice analysis by some other entities. The occupation analysis is a study of a profession designed to identify the important tasks that new licensees must be able to perform safely and competently at that time of licensure and the essential knowledge required to perform those tasks effectively. The results of the occupation analysis provides a detailed description of practice that provides an outline for developing the licensure examination. As you know, professional practice is continuously evolving and changing due to new research, new technology, new methodology, or regulations. As a result, testing standards and guidelines require that occupation analysis be performed at regular intervals, typically every 5 years, to ensure that examinations stay current with changes in the profession. In conducting an occupation analysis, there are some basic steps in the process. The process requires involvement of subject matter experts with diverse practice backgrounds, work settings, and experience levels. The SMEs review draft task and knowledge statements, develop content areas, and identify demographic variables. A survey is sent to the practitioners throughout the state to determine the frequency with which each task is conducted and how important each task is to professional practice. Once results of the survey have been received and analyzed, another group of SMEs reviews the survey results and determines the final examination outline, which specifies the weights assigned to different content areas in that profession. OPS started the California OA for both the Branch 2 field representative operator professions in June 2024 and successfully completed it in July 2025. In December 2024, on behalf of the board of OPS sent an email to a sample of 7,908 actively practicing field reps, inviting Branch 2 field reps, inviting them to complete the online questionnaire. The email invitation was sent to field reps for whom the board had an email address on file. Reminder emails were sent weekly after the initial invitation was made to make sure they take the survey. The OA survey link was also added to the board's website to help collect responses from field reps who did not have an email address, and that information I think the board communicated through social media platforms. A total of 754 field reps, or approximately 10% of the field reps who received an email invitation, responded to the OA questionnaire, and a total of 74 field reps responded to the online survey from the board's website. The final number of respondents included in the OA analysis was 573. That is around 7%. The reason for that is because not everybody who takes the survey completes the whole survey, so we need to take out those who, when the survey is not fully complete, we cannot use that in the final analysis. So as you can see in the slide, it gives us the breakdown of the new content areas of the current 2025 Branch 2 profession OA, which will be in effect for the next 5 to 6 years till we get the next one done. In the post-survey workshop, subject matter experts evaluated the preliminary content area weights in terms of how well they reflect the relative importance of each content area to entry-level Branch 2 field representative work in California. Through discussion, the SMEs determined the final weights that you can see in the slide to accurately reflect the relative importance of each area to Branch 2 field representative practice. Now we'll talk about the Branch 2 operator questionnaire and our process. Branch 2 operator survey was also conducted at the same time in December 2024 because both we concurrently did both the field rep and operator at the same time to engage more participation and also minimize the cost. On behalf of the board, OPS sent an email to a sample of 1,523 actively participating operators, inviting them to complete the online OA questionnaire. The email invitation was sent to OPRs for whom the board had an email address on file, and remainder emails were sent weekly after the initial invitation was made. The OA survey link was also added to the board's website to help collect responses from the operators who do not have an email address. A total of 310 operators, or approximately 20% of the operators who received an email invitation, responded to the questionnaire, and a total of 44 operators responded to the online survey link on the board's website. The final number of respondents who have completed all the survey questions was 253, which is around 16.61%. In the post-survey workshop for the operator, the SMEs evaluated the preliminary content area weights in terms of how well they reflected the relative importance of each content area to entry-level branch to operator work in California. Through discussion, the SMEs determined the final weights to accurately reflect the relative importance of each area of the branch to operator practice. The new examination outline will be used for examination starting in probably January or February 26th. We still have one more workshop to complete, and due to the busy season now, we couldn't get enough SMEs. So we hope to get it done probably by end of this month, and then we should have a new exam going out live for operator branch 2 and field rep based on this new exam plan, probably January or February 2026. And I will pass it along to Amy to talk more about the OPS recommendation for changes for the SPCB branch 2 examination process.
Thank you. So following the occupational analyses for the branch 2 professions, we have 2 recommendations for the board to consider. The first is reducing the number of items or questions on the Structural Pest Control Board examinations. And the second is changing the passing score that is currently set in statute to the use of a criterion reference passing score methodology. OPES recommends reducing the number of items on the FR2 and OPR2 examinations from 150 to 125 items, and that's based on statistical analyses. OPES also recommends that we add 15 pretest items to each examination form. Pretest items are used to collect statistics to validate new items before they become scoreable or operationable on a new form. We recommend keeping the time allowed to take the examination the same, which is 2.5 hours. And this proposed recommendation to reduce the number of items was discussed with subject matter experts who expressed support for the change. The recommendation is, if the recommendation is approved by the board, the change would be tied to new forms beginning in January 2026. Additionally, OPES would recommend this change to be considered for branch 1 and branch 3 once we complete those occupational analyses. And we're currently conducting the branch 3 occupational analysis this year. OPES is also recommending that the board move away from the current fixed passing scores that are set at 70% in statute, Business and Professions Code Section 139, and associated policy OPES Policy 2201, the Licensure Examination Validation Policy, require that passing scores for licensure examinations be set using a criterion referenced passing score methodology. This ensures that passing scores reflect the actual difficulty of the examination and competence required for safe entry-level practice. Because examinations vary from one to the next, a fixed passing score does not reflect minimum competence. Criterion reference passing scores are the most legally defensible because they are based on the actual difficulty of the examination forms. This method aligns with professional standards for validity and is more robust under legal scrutiny. Almost all DCA programs are now using a criterion reference methodology, and OPES recommends using the modified Angoff method, which involves subject matter experts taking the exam and rating each item based on a candidate profile of minimum competence. This passing score methodology allows adjustments to be made based on form difficulty. So difficult examinations have a lower passing score and easier forms have a higher passing score. OPES understands that because this requires a statutory change, that it will take time if the board accepts this recommendation. So we're happy to answer any questions, and thank you for listening to us.
I have a question, but open it up for questions.
Questions. So, I like the exams, and I do a lot to help our employees, new employees, prepare for them and whatnot. So, I don't understand. Because in the past, as part of these SME groups, and it's always really hard to get SMEs to come up and do the questions and select them and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's very hard. And so this last one is SMEs make judgments on difficulty of each item. California is a big state. Southern California's SMEs going to be very well versed in some WDOs or pests rather than those in the Valley and those in Northern California. So how do SMEs make judgments on the difficulty of each item? It seems very subjective instead of just saying, here's the criteria you guys, applicants need to take. And every question should be fair game. Like, how does a subterranean termite question, or I guess that's branch 3, but how does a, Jerusalem cricket question is harder than a German cockroach question. I mean, which one is harder? Depends which one you see a lot, right?
The nice thing about this methodology is that it takes that into consideration, because if you have subject matter experts from the North and the South evaluating it, you're going to have an average of where they find that difficulty level. So if one person feels that it is 80% difficulty and another feels like it's 50, then we talk about it. Right? Well, right. It is subjective. We train them to consider a minimally competent candidate. So if you have 100 minimally competent candidates in a room, how many of them would answer the question correctly? And so each person says their rating, and then we discuss that as a group. So ultimately, we land on a passing score.
But some of these SMEs will have, we've had people in there that've been in FR for 6 months and they're an SME versus a person that's been there for 15 years. It's a vastly different knowledge of that, right? Because you only need 40 hours of field training to become an FR. Then all of a sudden they're an SME after 60 hours versus a guy that has 6,000. How does the subjective become more legally defensible than, because all the questions in the bank, you've had those over and over and over, and you already know which ones are, which ones get answered right, which ones get answered wrong. Why does that go out? And all of a sudden we're back to a subjective of, well, this person with 6 months of experience has the same weight of a objective. This is a hard question versus somebody that has 8 years.
We also use statistics during this workshop. So let's say someone says, I think it's 95. It's very easy. And someone else says, oh, I think it's a 40. After they discuss their points of view, other people can chime in and weigh in on that. And then the facilitator can say, well, actually it's performing at a 70. And they take that into consideration. And then they have an opportunity to make a final.
When you say performing, you mean based on test results, about 70% get it right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
It's average, it sounds like it's averaging out the two that you're saying. I mean, you got one person saying it's a 40% passing, one person saying it's 80%. Because of their area, and they're averaging that out. Like they're coming up with, okay, it's 65. So I mean, I think
But it's much like that, like if you have a test bank of 900 questions and they just get rotated in all the things. Well, question 737 has a correct answer rate of 37%. Question 25 has a correct answer of 95%. Obviously, 95% statistically says that's an easy question instead of having 2 or 3 or randomly people debate it, right? Because there's like 20,000 licensed individuals in California or something like that. And how many SMEs do we get a year to do sessions? 60? 70?
So let me revert back to the first. The passing score would be a second workshop. It's not the primary workshop.
I know, there's 2 workshops,
Exam construction, let's say sometimes we get like 5 SMEs, sometimes we get 6, sometimes it could be 8. The last time for the wood destroying organism, we had like almost a good 11 of them suddenly to come in person for
11 for the whole state to say this is a hard question or not.
Because it's very tough to get SMEs.
I know, and then we're relying on the subjective stuff. Okay,
So
go ahead.
But also you have to understand, this is just a branch 2 process, which is, so whoever comes in for a branch 2 is not going to look at a branch 3.
I understand that.
Though they may have
11 branch 2 SMEs.
Yeah, so they will be looking only at all items would be related to the process, right?
I understand.
So they will be selecting the items that is going to go on. That is where we already determined it's not going to be either too tough for them or too easy for them. So those items have already been selected, and that booklet, that exam set of items, like it's 125 or 150, whichever is one. The next group is going to score and give us a passing rate on it. So that's where, so discussion is going to happen both when the items are being selected, when we show them maybe if you're going to select an item for the exam of 125, we will be showing them 150 items, right? And they'll be selecting 125 items out of it. And then we show that 125 items that has been selected to the next group, who's going to determine the passing rate. And that is when, like Amy said, the discussion would be happening within themselves to determine is this item too easy or too hard, or how to score it.
The reason it's more defensive.
I think calculus is super, super easy. I may not think calculus is very easy. So it's just come out to 50. I mean, we're both, we both graduated high school and we both took pre-calc,
But we wouldn't ask.
You would ask a similar question.
And someone who's in trigonometry to rate. We'd only ask people who were in calculus to rate.
Yeah, but true, but for example, when you're doing the FR3 stuff, construction's part of, there's some people that are very good with their hands and very good with construction, find that very easy. Others find it very difficult, right? Even though you still are supposed to know the same material. So how does that subjective, I think it's hard, think it's not, become more valid instead of just saying, here's the bank of questions, we know what they are, and you balance it out as a test developer saying, overall these 150 questions have to equal out to an average pass grade of 70%. Some are harder, some are lesser. And you go from there instead of, the subjective 11 or 12 people saying it's hard or easy.
Right now, we're not constructing the test statistically the way you're describing. We're constructing it with subject matter experts. So they're also deciding what goes on the test.
Right.
So if one group of subject matter experts makes a difficult test and another makes an easy test, the cut score is still 70%. So the people who get that hard test are going to be at a disadvantage.
The questions they select from are from the same questions, because I remember I was in those sessions in the past, right? And so So, right, we need 18% of questions to be relative or be representative of PPE. So you go through that, and then the person will say, okay, well, that question basically answers the first question. You can't do that. Pick another one. And it's out of, list like 50 questions. And out of those 50 questions, 9 of them get onto the test, and then it goes to a test developer to then validate, make sure it's all good. So that process is going away?
No, that's still that's the primary. That's what I say. That's the primary, which creates the exam questions that is going to be scored. So the second group, that is the passing score group, which will be a new extra workshop, will be used for them to grade it. They're the ones who will be grading the questions.
They're going to grade it?
Not
To grade it. Score it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when they still take the test, when they leave PSI, they're still going to get you passed or you failed, right?
Yes.
Automatically.
They will be taking the exam. The process for a passing score is they have to take the exam without answers given to them. So they will, in the mind,
Subject matter expert.
the subject matter experts who are coming for the workshop would be taking that exam, right? So they will be deciding while taking it how the exam feels. And then they will start the scoring process in the second round, when we will give out the answers to them, and they will start scoring those selected items, which they have taken as a new.
And then that score does what then? From the SME?
Or that score, as we key it into a spreadsheet, it will give us the calculation, which will set the final cutoff score, which will be used in the exam.
Amy, you said earlier, you were about to say how it was more defensible.
Yes.
Can you tell us that? And then also on, earlier you had said a lot of the DCA have gone this route.
Right.
You have some examples? Okay. And so, and the results were, and what those results have been?
It's the standard across all exams for the most part, any licensure exam, whether it's for RN, registered nurse, structural pest, it's not structural pest right now, but chiropractic, yeah.
And you're specifically referring to the criterion reference passing score methodology?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The reason it's more defensible is because you have a group of people who are doing the work, discussing, they are giving their ratings. Initially, it's subjective. They're doing what they think, what do entry level, how many people do I think will get this correct that are entry level in my profession? And they disagree, but they're supposed to come together after they talk. They have a debate about, I think it's hard for this reason. I think it's easy for this reason, or I can see your point of view. And then they come together. They can either, the low person comes up or the high person comes down, or they come to the middle, and everybody in the group has to chime in. It's not just two people who are opposites talking.
Yeah, but sometimes there are.
But my understanding on that then is, on one question, it's a hard question that's been determined by these SMEs. Out of 100 people taking the test, we're saying, oh, only 30% are going to get that right. It's a hard question, and we're okay. You basically got it right if you're in the 7. I'm having a hard time understanding that. And then this other question that's super easy. You better get that right because it's an easy one because it's scored better. Is that correct?
No, it's ultimately there's one score in the end, but out of all of the scores, we take an average. So we have 10 people in a room. They've rated it. We try to keep them within 20 points. So that's part of the discussion. They can't go outside of that range typically unless they have a good reason. And then those scores come together. So it's supposed to, the reason it's more legally defensible is because if you have a difficult test, then the cut score goes down. If you have a harder test, then
So let's say I'm an applicant, I go into PSI, I take my score, I take my exam, I hit submit.
You get a
What-
pass or a fail, just like you always do.
Yep, so can I ask a
Based on the form they're taking, there's going to be a set score on that.
So I heard someone refer to a question bank. So there's, for instance, if we go to the 125 for the branch 2 field representative, the question bank, does that mean there's more than 125 questions and everybody taking the test gets a randomized? No, they all.
That's that is something, but that's not what this is.
So currently, everybody taking the branch 2 field representative test today gets the same 125 questions.
No, I believe.
No, so they are.
They don't, well, that can't be because if you fail, my understanding right now, if you fail like the FR2 test, and then you have day 31, you take it, you're not going to get the same test you took 31 days ago.
No, you get it the same.
Exact same test?
But only the order will be different. It won't be in the same.
I know, but the order will be different. But
it's the same, yeah.
So now we're getting the same test.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have a lot more. Would have to have a lot more workshops, and that's for SMEs. But we do put out new forms. We try to put out a new form every year, or.
We are going to be in the new workshop we did because it was a 3-day workshop. So we are creating 2 forms based on this new plan. And that form would keep circulating. So let's say if you run it for 6 months or 8 months, then we can change it again. So for that given time period, that is the only form we are going to put in. So if we want more forms, then we need to have more workshops. We used to have it before. We used to have at least 3 workshops in a year, but due to budget constraints, board couldn't do it. So with the prior, and especially with COVID came in, they couldn't get any SMEs after that. So that is when they decided to keep one form going for a year and change it. But now we are going to do 2 forms because we have a 3-day workshops. We are creating 2 forms, which will keep circulating and then till the next workshop after.
Is that your understanding that it's always the same set of questions?
Yes, the order changes.
The order changes, but it's the same questions. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that helps. Go ahead.
I know that, like he said, it used to be, and that's what I'm used to seeing prior to coming here, is more than one form.
Yes, that's what I recall.
But that stopped because of, funding.
That stopped. Did you see pass rates go up?
No, it's the same. Because because I don't think anybody would be able to just go memorize the whole thing and just go and remember. They still need to know because all questions.
Well, that's true, but if you remember 15 of the questions, now you only actually answer 100 instead of 125, right?
That's true, but it's very tough for them to just remember exactly because it's a scenario-based questions, right? It's not just recall. And all questions are being edited and modified over these years to make it really scenario oriented.
So where are the SMEs when the SMEs then are taking the exam? Where are those questions coming from? The past questions or stuff that's already been developed?
We already have a pool of questions. We already have.
Pool of questions we already have. So those pool of questions have been around quite a long time, right? Because they were developed by SMEs with all the books or whatnot. So if I have a pool of questions that's been around for 7 years and that those questions have been asked over and over, you already kind of have a statistical, pass fail on that particular question. What are we doing the rework and saying, well, Susie thinks it's a 70% easy class or easy test or easy question, and Dan thinks it's 20 and we're going to come in, it's a 50, but over the course of 7 years, that's actually 67% pass rate.
We're always writing new questions. So we're always getting rid of questions, refreshing, putting new questions in.
And that's with the 15 extra, right?
Item response theory, which is another methodology we could use to construct exams statistically. There's also LOFT, which is linear on the fly, which is where we could provide PSI a bank of items if we have 1,000
Right,
items,
then
and
just select some.
then candidate would see a different set of items.
So if SMEs are like reading the questions, taking the test and giving a rating, what's the need for the 15 new questions that applicants have to take, which actually have zero experience? They're just supposed to know. So why make them take those extra 25 questions?
Oh, you mean the
It's
pre-test?
more fair so that we're not penalizing them if we put, right now, we have to just put those new questions on the test. And then we watch closely after the test has been out for 15 days. We look at how they're performing, because if they're performing badly, then we would replace them or.
But they shouldn't be if the SMEs are saying it's a 30% hard question.
But they're not perfect. It's not a perfect world.
It's minimum competency.
Twice, basically.
We're supposed to be testing for minimum competency.
On the test as a free test question.
And it goes for the field rep. The pre-test, we are planning to start with the field reps, run the operators, a branch 2. And for example, because although the questions are written by, for example, we can read one of the comments from one of the candidates, because we go by the review of the comments from the candidates, right? Because though all questions are written by an SME in the field, like Amy said, it's never perfect because they come with their own knowledge and whatever they have done.
But when you get the handout book, it gives you a list of references and materials to read or prep from, and usually there's like 14 textbooks and stuff, and those textbooks are back here, and then SMEs dig through those books and find the questions, is what I kind of recall. So they're not really making it up off the fly, because it has to be based on something that's citable and referenceable.
You mean when they write the question?
When you write the question.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't ever recall me being an SME, getting a whole bunch of books out and reading. We picked them from here's 50 questions and we need 10 for the test.
That's right. The questions would be right. For example, I'll read a very simple one. One of the comments is it's related to Argentine ants. Okay, it says very vague for control of the interior or exterior. So this candidate is telling the question is not clear enough. Because for control of the interior, the answer is bait along established trails. But for exterior, control is best to use repellent around the exterior of the building. Statistically, the question is functioning at a good 51%, which means almost 50% who are taking the exam are getting it right. But still, this question is for that one candidate is saying it's vague, it's not clear because there's something more that needs to be added into the question. And that is what we are trying to eliminate using pre-test questions, because I don't think it's fair for me or any candidate, especially given this profession doesn't have a formal education. I cannot test I don't like anyone testing a raw question on a candidate and taking it for granted that they should get it right because it was written by an SME who has been in the field, because it's putting that poor candidate's own licensure on. Maybe that one answer could decide whether he's going to get a license or not.
Yeah, they don't have to get 100%. The guy gets 70%. I mean, so 50%. One question's not going to make or break you.
No, I'm saying that is one of the questions. We get a lot of questions, and I collect, board knows, I collect all the questions on any SMEs who attend. All questions are reviewed in the exams. And the more questions that candidate comments that comes in, that means something is wrong with that particular item. Something is not clear enough. So that is the reason. And all exams use pre-test. We are the only one who are not using pre-test items. And we are rawly testing an item on a candidate and deciding, and based on that, we are giving a license to them or not. So it's better to pre-test it so that we can decide whether to use it or what needs to be changed. Let's say this item was pre-tested.
You can pre-test it. That's fine. But that's way more objective and way more definitive than the extra work of the SMEs writing it and then debating, saying, well, what do you think it should be?
If 100
so just do the pre-test item and say, all right, we've had 1,500 people take this test this year. Here's the statistical analysis of what's hard, what isn't. And then that's it. All this other stuff seems very subjective and takes a long time.
To me, the 1,500 people who took it as a pretest question this year produces a much more accurate.
Absolutely. Than the 11 SMEs from different areas with different levels of experience.
Oh, you mean in comparison to a passing score? Oh, God.
No. If 1,500 people take the test this year and they all have the same 15 pre-test questions that they have to answer, and 80% of them get question 2 right, that's a much more meaningful statistic to me, and I'm not in your business, but that's much more meaningful to me than what 10 SMEs said it was when they came up with the question.
And that's what we look for in a pre-test. We look to see how many of them.
But does that change your criterion referenced evaluation of?
It's part of it. So when SMEs give their rankings and let's say that, you know, if they're far apart or they're close or everybody thought it was easy, but then we see the statistics and only 30% got it right. That adds to the discussion of the difficulty of the item and part of that passing score. And that's what helps with that defensibility. It's having people who are working in the profession, making these evaluations, having a discussion, and determining the cut score.
So I had a question I still got to. How often does this happen? How often is the criterion referenced passing
form goes out?
How often is that? I don't.
Well, when we make 2 forms a year.
So
two times.
So every year the passing score could change.
Right.
And how does an applicant know what the passing score is?
We would, if the board could put that on their website potentially, or they would just know when they shouldn't be studying to a score.
No, but I know you're not studying to a score, but you're also studying with an idea of what do I need to get to pass?
Right.
And if they don't know what the passing score is, that just.
This is a standard practice across all DCA exams except 2.
So do we get in trouble if we don't approve this?
Dental hygiene.
Well, I think a lot of the other, boards, they have formal education. So I think that's a huge plus when we start going into the SMEs. They have a much different perspective.
Dispensers don't.
What?
Hearing aid dispensers, they only have to be 18.
What kind of dispensing?
Hearing aid dispensers.
Yeah, but, we're applying pesticides. It affects, public.
Any other questions that you guys have or comments on that? I mean, it is 2 separate things that we are basically going to be voting on for this agenda item. So I don't know, there's the one of the number of scoreable items included on the branch 2 field rep and operators examinations, reducing the number of scoreable items from 150 to 125 and adding these 15 pre-test questions. And then the other one we're going to be voting on is change to the criterion reference passing score methodology.
And that's if someone makes the motion.
Or did you want to go out and hear some public comment first before you all do a motion?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, let's open up for public comment before we take the 2 different motions. Okay, perfect.
Come on out.
You have to do it again, actually.
Come on up, Jim.
Or you can.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Anish. You guys might need to stick around and answer questions. I don't know.
Yeah, you should stay.
Yeah, any question comes in.
So I very much appreciate the time and attention that's being paid to this because over the last 3 decades of my involvement in the industry, a lot of the questions we get at CAPMA are related to the test, the exam pass rate, and all things associated. So I appreciate the pain you're suffering now. It's for the good. A couple of thoughts that came to my mind is I'm still not sure if each person that takes the test is going to have the same threshold of 70% as the passing grade. And then another comment, I agree with the idea that you can get some statistics from the pre-exam questions, but maybe the SMEs can help us find out why these questions sometimes are tough. Sometimes it's just the grammar and the way they're written. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit of an obscure technical content. I don't know what a spherical is, or You know, how many legs again? You know, there's a lot of reasons why you have, I call them torpedo questions. And in my experience, I expect about 5 to 10 of them on an exam that are going to be tough for anybody who can really study well for an exam. So I appreciate having a system that removes those questions from the exam. And I'm not sure if what's being proposed will do that, because I still have some questions about this, and I'm hoping, my feeling is that this can be maybe tabled for additional discussion within the board and the industry and brought back in a month or so. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of questions as I go to try and report back what's happening here. I'm going to take a lot of arrows on this one. So I'm hoping maybe, since there's not a lot of clarity, maybe we can talk about it a little bit more and understand what these folks are talking about, because I do think it would be better for us if we had less of these questions on the exam that made it more unintentionally difficult and unfairly difficult for some than others. And I do think that there's some, I think if a lot of other boards are testing a certain way, it's important to look at moving that direction if possible. So that's all the comments I have.
Thank you so much, Jim. Any other public comments, or can we open it up to online comments?
WebEx is open for public comment on the OPES discussion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment longer to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no additional requests, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, please. Any other questions from you guys on, has there been any other feedback from other departments within DCA on this, or has it just been smooth sailing or same concerns?
The most recent board to switch is the dental board for their dentist law and ethics, and I think that's the most recent, and they haven't had any issues. It's just, we had considered questions that might come up, and one of them was, potentially how will the passing rate be affected? And we look at the statistics every 15 days. We get data every 15 days. And so there's a couple of options. We could hold scores, which you probably wouldn't like, until we had enough candidates to evaluate and say, this looks good or this doesn't look good. And then we would make adjustments. Or we would just after 15 days, if there were changes that were needed. Sometimes we give credit for an item or we replace items. After we discuss it with the board, then we would make changes, adjustments, if the passing rate dropped significantly. Or
So if I were to be taking that test tomorrow, would I know a passing, or would I know it's 60? I'm taking one of the harder tests. I just need to get a 67 on this one, or I'm taking one of the easier tests. I need to score a 74. Is there?
It depends on, I'm not sure how the result every board has different result letters. Some result letters have, if you pass, but you don't get a score. If you fail, though, you do get a score and you get a breakdown of where you didn't perform well.
So could I possibly fail a test and have a result come back saying you scored 71%, you failed?
Right.
And
yes.
But
the passing score was 70.
Was when you walk in and take the test, do you know what the passing score is?
Yeah, that was my initial question, and I you wouldn't know that, but
it's possible though,
right,
to know that.
You might.
We can,
That's
But that hasn't been a concern with any of the other boards?
And it's not so much a big deal that you walk in knowing like I need a 70%. It's just really nice and consistent to do that. But you said like for the Dentogene, you look at it and 15 days later you say, oh, actually we'll go ahead and give you credit for that. Well, it's too late to give them credit because I already got, you can't wait 15 days. What you had in the past for structural pest control board, you used to get a letter. Now you go to PSI and you immediately find out if you pass or score. But then all of a sudden you look at this question and say, oh, we're going to give them credit for that one. And that actually would have pushed them over a pass instead of a not pass. So how do you communicate that in? I mean, that scenario doesn't really work out very well, at least with it totally changes the current structure now.
We would work with the board. That would only last for a short time. It would last 15 to 30 days. And then if we were to make changes, we would work with the board to send letters out to say, now you've passed. So hopefully that would happen before they scheduled to retest.
But for a pest control company, if you have a person that doesn't pass, well, it's depending on this eventually probably get down to applicators and stuff. That's all of a sudden additional 2-3 weeks if you're having that person ride around with the truck, paying twice as much in the truck and then spending a lot of extra resources to help that person pass. But all of a sudden I get a letter, oh, never mind, you passed. I mean.
But they would have had to do that anyway, right?
True, but then yeah.
There's also examples of someone being, hey, your job, if you don't pass the test, we're not going to be able
there's a lot like so next to others. So you don't pass, you do 15 in, you don't pass, don't come back. Yeah. But you can't then say, oh, by the way, you did 3 weeks later, and then say, go back and get your job back.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different. I also agree with like the dental hygienist. I mean, or the dental one. I mean, that is formal schooling. It is, you're working on models and teeth. You should know things. This is how do you mix? What's your application ratio? What's dilution ratio? Things you don't get formal training on.
I got a quick question. The other boards, is there a hierarchy in licensure? I think it's apples and oranges. It really is, because you have an entry-level applicator and he aspires to go to the next level. And then when you have a field rep, he aspires. The idea is, I think, not to lower the bar.
I'm not sure lowering the bar is necessarily the automatic result of this, but I agree.
Yeah.
So I have a suggestion. I would be comfortable moving approval of 11A, the reduction in the number of questions, and I'm not sure the name of the public commenter. Was it Jim? Jim, I agree with Jim that the second part might need a little bit more discussion within the industry and among us, because I get the sense that some of us are not entirely comfortable with it yet.
Well, if I could turn my eyes back on myself.
Well, and the other item would require a statutory change as well.
So, yeah.
Isn't going to happen anytime soon.
So that would be.
What does that look like on, I mean, we're going to take two separate votes. What does that look like on this item 11B if we were to say we wanted more?
So if you were to today, motion, 11B, for me to move forward with that, ideally, I would do it next year with our sunset report. I would put, this recommendation for statutory change in the sunset report and try and get it in the sunset bill. So that would be January 1. It would be a couple of years before it even went into effect.
It's not something at the next board meeting would be able to be discussed.
Oh, yes. You can discuss it at the next board meeting. Yeah.
We just discussed.
Yeah, I'm just.
Okay,
Once it's approved, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I would do. But if it's too late to put it in the sunset, let's say, sometime in 2026 is when you've, come to a conclusion that, yes, you want to go this route, then it would just be during another legislative session, aside from sunset.
vote on 11A, and then 11B, if it didn't pass, we can talk about it at the next.
If you don't need to make a motion at all on 11B, we can just
If that's the route we want to go, we can direct staff to,
come back with, I know for myself, I don't know a whole lot about this scoring methodology, the pass rate. Maybe come back with more information, maybe find out from other boards and bureaus, some that are somewhat similar, not necessarily a healing arts program, but there's like contractors out there, there's home furnishings out there, electronic and appliance repair. I don't know, just see how.
Perfect.
I'll work with Amy on maybe.
To move on, let's see if anybody if you want to make a motion on agenda item 11A.
I move that the board, the Office of Professional Examination Services recommendation to reduce the number of scorable items on the branch 2 field representative and operator examinations from 150 to 125, add 15 pre-test items to each examination form, and maintain the current 2.5-hour testing time. These changes shall be implemented with the release of new examination forms developed from the updated occupational analysis dated July 2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I will now open the floor to public comment.
We did have public comment already. That's good. Okay.
Seeing none, I'll open it online.
WebEx is open for public comment on the motion. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, please. It has been moved and seconded. Sophia, please call the roll.
Vice President Finley,
Yes.
Board Member Mendenhall,
Yes.
Board Member Tingan,
Yes.
Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
It does not sound like we have a motion for item 11B.
I would like to ask staff to work with, OPES, and also with the community industry representatives in some way to learn more about this and get their input on what they think. One of the questions I just thought of is, so with the other boards, when you roll this out, does that result in the passing score going down or going up typically?
I did ask Amy prior to this presentation. I also had questions about it, and just so you know, some of the things that I asked.
You don't need to just.
For that particular question, Amy's response was that no, she does not anticipate a change in the pass rate.
Okay. No, not necessarily the pass rate, but what the passing score is, which I guess can affect the pass rate. But, how many of them went up from 70 or whatever their old threshold was, or went down from 70?
What have the ranges been like? It dropped down to 62 for a while, then went up to 74% for a while. I don't, just some more information is what you're asking for before we discuss it again at the next meeting.
That can be part of what staff gives us when we come back to this.
We don't need a motion for that, right? No.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Anesh. Yes. Yeah, we are going to get back on track here. We are going to start back, and we are on agenda item number 12, the Executive Officer's Report. Sophia, will you please present the EO report?
Yes, thank you. So we have for agenda item 12A, the budget update. Support fund, actually, I'm just gonna hand this over. We have the budget office here. They're online, and they're actually gonna present the budget report to you and answer any questions you might have.
Perfect.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me all right?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. My name is Luke Fitzgerald. I'm a budget analyst with the DCA Budget Office, and I'm joined by Budget Manager Suzanne Balkus. I'd like to thank the board and executive staff for allowing me a few minutes to present on agenda item 12A, the board's expenditure projections and revenue fund condition statement. First page we're going to take a look at is going to be the board's expenditures, which is going to be page number 184 of your materials. These projections are based on actual data through fiscal month 13 for the 0775 fund. This report includes 2023-24 actual expenditures in green, as well as 2024-25 year-end expenditures in blue and orange, which also includes a budget allocation breakdown. And then over this 2-year period, costs are slightly higher. As we move to the end of the document, you'll see the board had a beginning base budget of approximately $6.6 million and spent approximately $5.9 million, creating a reversion to the board's fund of $646,000. The next document is going to be the board's revenue, which is on page 185 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through the month of June, and I'll go further into these projections as we transition to the next slide. The next slide for the 0775 fund is on page 186, and this is the board's fund condition statement. And as a quick reminder, we read this document from top to bottom and left to right. The board began 2024-25 with a beginning balance of almost $2.6 million. The board collected roughly $5.4 million in revenues, with $690,000 from initial license fees, $278,000 from license renewals, and about $4.4 million from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board expended approximately $6.5 million, which includes $571,000 in direct draws to the fund for statewide pro rata and pension payments. The board ended 2024-25 with $1.5 million in reserve balance, or about 2.6 months in reserve. For the current year, the board is projected revenues of approximately $5.5 million, with $680,000 projected from initial license fees, $242,000 from renewal fees, and a little over $4.6 million from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board's 2025-26 expenditures are based on Budget Act projections is just over $6.9 million between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, leaving the board with a fund balance of $40,000, or about 0.1 months in reserve. And then the last slide for the 0775 fund is on page 187 of your materials, and this is the board's fund condition statement with an estimated revenue increase effective 7/1/2025. The board's 2024-25 column will remain the same as the above fund condition statement, but for the current year, the board projected revenue of approximately $6.8 million, with $942,000 projected from an $346,000 from renewal fees, and a little over $5.5 million from citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board's 2025-26 expenditures based on Budget Act projections is just over $6.9 million between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, leaving the board with a fund balance of $1.4 million, or 2.4 months in reserve. Next, we're going to go over is going to be the board's expenditures for the 0399 Education and Enforcement Fund, which is page 188 of your meeting materials. These projections are based on actual data through fiscal month 13. And as we move toward the end of the document, you'll see the board had the beginning base budget of $314,000 and spent $314,000, creating a reversion to the board's fund of $0. The next document is going to be the board's revenue projections for the 0399 fund, which is page 189 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through the month of June, and we're going to go further into these projections again on the next slide. The last slide for the 0399 fund is on page 190 of your materials for the fund condition statement. The board began 2024-25 with a beginning balance of almost $1.9 million. The board collected roughly $505,000 in revenues, with $425,000 from other regulatory fees, $80,000 from income from surplus money investments. The board expended $330,000, which includes $16,000 in direct draws to the fund for statewide pro-rata pension payments. The board ended 2024-25 with $2 million in reserve, or about 73.3 months in reserve. For the current year, the board projected revenues are $525,000, with $449,000 for other regulatory fees and $70,000 from income from surplus money investments. The board's 2025-26 expenditures based on Budget Act projections is $338,000 between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, the board with a fund balance of $2.3 million, or 80.7 months in reserve. And then lastly, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 0168 fund, firstly, which is the expenditures on page 191 of your materials. For the 0168 fund, the board had a beginning base budget of $3,000 and is projected spending approximately $86,000. The next document is going to be the board's revenue projections for the 0168 fund on page 192 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through June, and again, we'll take a further look into these as we take a look at the last slide. The last slide for the 0168 fund is going to be page 193 of your materials, and it's the fund condition statement. The board began 2024-25 with a beginning balance of $1.2 million. The board collected $214,000 in revenues, with $168,000 from other regulatory fees and $46,000 from income from surplus money investments. And then below that, you'll see the board expended $86,000. The board ended 2024-25 with approximately $1.3 million in reserve balance. And then for the current year, the board projected revenues of $212,000, with $160,000 from other regulatory fees and $52,000 from income from surplus money investments. The board's 2025-26 expenditures based on 2025 Budget Act projections is $3,000, leaving the board with a fund balance of $1.5 million. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the board revenue and expenditures for all three funds and report back to the board with monthly expenditure projections as we continue to close fiscal months in the current year. And then just a few final things to note on the board's fund condition statement. The fund condition is a snapshot in time, and one of the main factors driving expenditure increases in future years is a result of personal service adjustments. These include general salary increases, as well as employee compensation and retirement rate adjustments. The budget often includes a conservative ongoing 3% increase to expenditures on the fund condition statement to account for these ongoing incremental adjustments. And then lastly, I would just like to note to the board that any future legislation or anticipated events could result in the board's need for additional resources, which could create cost pressure on the fund. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the board fund condition statements and keep the line of communication open with the executive staff for any future needs or expectations. Again, thank you for allowing me to present at today's meeting. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll open up for, do you guys have any questions? No, I mean, the only thing I would say, just in the future, if we could just slow that down a little bit, and we don't have page numbers.
Yeah,
so it's really hard to follow. I caught up with you about halfway into it of where we were at. But yeah, if we could just slow down and maybe have page numbers, or at least like give us time to get on that right report. Thank you.
Okay, my apologies.
No problem. Thank you so much.
I can move on, and then we'll open up for public comment at the end of my report. Okay. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is in your packets, right after all of the budget material, is the legislative summary. There's a handout that I put in there that has some highlighted areas. This is the most recent because things changed since I published this, printed this booklet. There is no legislation that's specific to the board. However, there's department-wide bills, and that's what I included here. Four department-wide bills that may have an impact on the board. Nothing that's really a huge impact to us. Everything can be absorbed with current resources. Then we have the staffing update C. Couple of changes. Melissa Zanetta, who is here with us, she is our new Assistant Executive Officer. After almost 3 years of that position being vacant, I have finally filled it, decided that I need someone there. So effective July 1st is when Melissa became the Assistant EO. She's doing a great job. I couldn't be happier. She has served with the board for about 9 years, right? Yeah. And most recently, she was our Chief of Licensing and Administration. So she's really strong with her leadership skills. She has a lot of program knowledge. And she was just, jumped right in and has been a huge help. And this has also helped with our succession planning. Kathleen Boyle, who was our enforcement manager, has accepted a new position as enforcement policy liaison. It was a lateral change for her. That was effective September 1st, 2025. She has already led much of our enforcement coordination, so in this new role, she'll focus on strengthening partnerships with county ag commissioners, Department of Pesticide Regulation, and other stakeholders, as she has already been doing, and she'll provide guidance on complex enforcement matters. We are currently recruiting for the enforcement manager. I have interviews next week for that. So until the position's filled, all of the enforcement staff are reporting directly to me. So that's it for the staffing update. Congratulations, Melissa and Kathy, on their new roles. And that's it for my EO report.
Thank you. Do we have somebody, the new position that Kathy is in, did we have somebody fulfilling that role before? Or that wasn't a role we had before?
No, it was not.
And what was
Kathy was juggling quite a bit as the enforcement manager. She was trying to manage the staff as well as working with DPR and the county ag offices on different enforcement matters.
Just working with them,
Yes.
not with the staff.
Yes, and she's going to start trying to build those partnerships more.
And are we interviewing internally, like, for that position? Or
For the enforcement manager? It's open to everyone. There are internal candidates that applied, and the interviews will be next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Was that it for?
That was it for my EO report.
Okay. I'd like to open the floor to the public. Seeing none, let's open them online.
WebEx is open for public comment on the Executive Officer's Report. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. We are on agenda item 13, licensing update. So the new Assistant Executive Officer, Melissa Zanetta, will present the licensing update.
Good afternoon, board members. Sorry. Okay. Good afternoon, board members. I'm going to provide you with the licensing update today. The licensing statistics report. It is included in your materials, agenda item 13, attachment B. Based on Q4 data, Exam pass rates, licenses issued, and renewals all remain within expected ranges. No real significant trends or concerns to report that at this time. Does anybody have questions on that section? Okay. Licensing unit satisfaction survey. From January to June 2025, we received 122 survey responses. Over 92% of respondents reported being satisfied with their licensing experience, and 95% felt staff treated them with courtesy and respect. Some feedback highlighted professionalism, responsiveness, and improvements with the new online system. So it sounds like they're enjoying that. While also pointing out opportunities for greater consistency and accessibility. On to Connect implementation. So that's been a continuous project. We are still in phases of rolling out new functionality. I'm happy to report that we now have a 84% adoption rate in the new online platform. So that means 84% of our applicants are applying online. So that's a great adoption rate. It's the industry's all jumping on board, so it's great. This summer, we launched a major core update in our system that really improved overall system performance. It was really a good time to do that because we're still kind of in development. There's still a lot more things that'll roll out, and it was really a good time to do that. So that was a major lift that's done successfully at this point. So that's great. We're now on a new version. Our next milestone is the new WDO reporting system, which we have been working on since the beginning of the project because this was a very big lift. So this has started from the beginning, and we're still kind of working at it. We anticipate the rollout for the end of October. With the expected first data file reports and make online WDO deposits in the new system by the expected date of October 22nd. So right around the corner. In preparation, staff, we've been busy training all staff on how to support the industry during this transition. And notices with additional details and step-by-step instruction for all Branch 3 companies have been sent and will continue to go out with different steps that need to be taken to be prepared for the rollout come October. And to ensure that we successfully can transition to the new system. To support the rollout, we're also holding weekly town halls, which the first one is going to be starting on October 7th, and those will continue through the end of November. And we'll see in the end of November if we feel like we still need to continue those. We can always do that if we need to, but we want to make sure that we're there every week so that we can kind of demo different processes, look at what questions we're getting, and kind of provide feedback as we continue that transition and start working in the new system. So that will be on the schedule every week. And there is information that has been sent out regarding that, as well as being published on our website. And let's see. So one thing I'd like to ask, we've already sent out requests for Branch 3 companies to go into their current WDO system and update your email address. That way we have the most up-to-date information in there because that is one of the platforms that we're pulling contact information from among our other systems. But it's helpful to have up-to-date information in there as we're getting this information out to the industry. Does anybody have questions?
Have we had any, would you say there's like a hurdle on switching people online? Like as we're going to these online platforms, has there been, hey, here's the number one concern that people are having, or has it been super smooth?
I want to say it's been fairly smooth. In the beginning, of course, it was a little rockier than it is now. I think people have adjusted, they've gotten used to the process. The core update that we just had kind of fixed a lot of the little issues that the system was having. There was some lagging and things like that, and it has greatly improved that at this time. But I will say that one of the continuous issues is people trying to use the phone on the platform. It is created to be able to use it on the phone, but it doesn't function the same. So we always ask that question, are you using your phone or a laptop? If they say their phone, well, do you have access to a computer? Can you maybe try it on there? And that tends to fix the issue. The phone, even though it was built to be compatible on a phone, it doesn't function the same. I'm sure other people have experienced other apps where it's just not the same on the phone, and it's kind of that situation. There's many people that manage to get through it on the phone, but the ones that tend to have issues when they call and they say, they're using a phone, we always direct them to try and go use a computer.
And then I have a question, just back to licensing, based off of one of the agenda items earlier. Were we getting any feedback of, that test wasn't fair? Are we getting?
Nothing more than normal. I mean, we always get the routine calls, like the questions weren't fair, and licensing always tells them, make sure that you're marking, because there's a comment line that they can do as they're taking the test. So they can always provide feedback during the test on, like if there's a specific question that just isn't right, they can add their feedback as they're going.
Okay.
Yeah. So we always encourage them to do that. But yeah, nothing more than normal. Nothing stands out.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to ask or you're allowed to answer, but what has been the board's thoughts on moving to the new system? Is just everyone's doing it, so let's do it? Or is it, oh, wow, we can see that addressing a problem that we currently have, just as we kind of soak that all in?
Yeah, and I know that it has been presented in the past and kind of pushed back in the past. I still am having a hard time understanding it myself, so I really agree that we need to get more information on it, because I'm still struggling with how that works too. So we'll kind of work to get that information together and really be able to understand it ourselves, and then be able to explain it better too, and provide some more feedback as far as what other departments are seeing, if they've had any issues when it rolled out, or even the one that hasn't rolled out, what's their hesitancy? Maybe it's the same as ours. So we'll definitely be doing some research and digging to see what we can find about that, because it is a little confusing. So thank you for bringing up those concerns, because I think those are valid concerns.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Quick thing on the town halls, are they going to be recorded so team members and people can reference them at convenient times?
Yes.
I don't know at the time, sorry.
Yes.
But whenever it's convenient for them.
It's going to be every Tuesday at 2 p.m. 2 to 3, except for there's one Tuesday in November that's a holiday. So it's going to be that next day, the Wednesday.
Okay.
But yes, they will be recorded. We will publish those. That way they're always accessible. We kind of tried to do it at a good time for the industry, thinking, okay, well, maybe 2 o'clock, everybody's kind of starting to get off. Maybe it's a good time. But yes, they'll always be recorded. So if somebody can't make it, it's definitely will be valuable information. And there will be several between now and then.
Okay. And then are they going to be kind of like the similar, it'll be different topics at the time, or kind of the same subject matter each time?
Plan to do, for the most part, the same subject matter. That way, if you miss one, you can catch the same information. But we also do plan as we go to look at the feedback that we're getting. Where are people struggling? What areas do we need to address? And then kind of adding some more information based on
general, that. Top 4 or 5 topics that you need to know, each one.
Exactly, yes. For instance, we just sent out an email today regarding the next steps. We're already getting questions, so we're going to kind of combine those and add them to our first town hall, and then we'll keep doing that every week. That way we can cover the most common questions that are coming up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've asked Melissa yesterday, yesterday she provided all staff training on how to the system, the new WDO system, and also how to answer those questions, because we do expect when this transition happens, which we're a little nervous about it, because the old system is going away. It's not like both are going to be live at the same time. It's going. And also, as the town halls happen, we'll make sure that staff are continuously trained and given the information on certain things that come up at the town hall that, maybe industry is struggling with.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, let me open the floor to public comment.
No, it's late. Got it.
I actually just wanted to come up and thank the board and the staff. I've been around long enough where I used to drive down triplicate copies of WDO reports. I don't know if anybody else in here ever did that, but the board looked like a hoarder's place because there were just mountains of files everywhere. And, over my career, a number of folks have commented to me that the board seems to be stuck in the late 90s when it comes to technology and all sorts of challenges. And lately, the board and the staff over the last few years have done a tremendous job in bringing in technology. We know the struggle's real to do that, but your most recent communication that we received on the process was clear, concise, comprehensive. And so from our perspective, this is maybe a little bit of a growing pain or adjustment in this, but definitely an improvement. And just thank you all for stretching as much as you can to bring more technology into our interactions with the board. The industry really appreciates it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Let's open it up online.
WebEx is open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, or online, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 14, enforcement update. Lead enforcement analyst Holly Glassner will present the enforcement update.
Can you hear me? Hello.
There we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Holly Glassner, lead analyst here at headquarters for the enforcement unit. I'm going to give you your update for the enforcement. You're going to have, as part of your items, the statistics report for enforcement unit for last fiscal year. We didn't really see a ton of variance within our numbers. Quite a bit, not quite a bit, there was a little bit more consumer complaint cases logged than there was the previous fiscal year. I guess it's the enforcement unit being proactive and doing more desk investigations regarding non-WDO filing or workers' comp insurance expiration, that kind of thing. We're doing those as desk investigations. We can do it analyst here and then if need be, it can go out into the field. So that's why you'll see a little bit of increased complaints received, but pretty much stayed fairly similar, no huge dips. Anybody have any questions on kind of that whole section? No? So also beginning July, so the first part of this new fiscal year, the enforcement unit took over doing investigations on companies who were not maintaining their bond or their insurance. That was typically done by the licensing unit and that bond and insurance desk. Now that they've taken on workers' comp as well, it's just gotten a little bit too chaotic. So we went ahead and took that over. We do have some parameters where we're sending out either a warning letter or a desk investigation, sending out one of our specialists to do a site inspection, finding out if the company was actually working during that time period when they had an insurance or bond lapse. Let's see. Oh, yes. Also, as of August of 2025, the online complaint form through our Connect system went up onto the website. It's been pretty fantastic. Had a couple little hiccups within the first couple weeks that we figured out, and worked with DCA to kind of get up and running. I have noticed since that has gone live, we're getting a lot more complaints that come through that are not within the board's jurisdiction. But they're fairly easy to respond to because we have emails and phone numbers for every single person who files a complaint. I'm talking things like tenant-landlord situations, or my neighbor has rodents, that kind of thing. So there's nothing that we can do. But it has been easier. They can literally upload photos, WDO reports, service tickets, their escrow documents, everything they need in one spot, and it's done. It's fantastic. And you know, I think that's all for me. Do you guys have any other questions?
Any questions? No. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the spreadsheet, the data.
Yeah.
The Attorney General cases, does that mean what I think it means? There are 117 pen cases with the AG?
I'm actually going to.
No.
I don't think that would get the total across.
Well, it's, okay. Oh.
The pending column.
Yeah, so, okay, so it's probably somewhere around 20 or 30.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that.
Where did all those come from? Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good catch.
Okay, I open the floor to public comment. Seeing none, I'll open the to online.
WebEx is open for public comment on the enforcement update. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial in users at dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. We're on agenda item 15, outreach and communication update, our social media. Administrative analyst Christina Jackson-Duran will present the outreach and communication update.
Thank you. As Vice President Finlay said, my name is Christina Jackson-Duran, Administrative Analyst, and I'm here today to give you the update on the board's outreach and communication efforts. Just want to highlight a couple of things. The board's listserv remains a vital tool in reaching licensees and stakeholders, especially with the rollout of Connect and now the new WDO reporting system. We've added 32 new subscribers, bringing our total to 872, which is about a 4% increase since our last board meeting. Moving on to social media, our account and content statistics report is in your materials, and that includes performance data from Meta's reporting system. And thanks to staff's dedication, our follower base continues to increase across all platforms. Moving to our newsletter, in May, we published a new newsletter, and that newsletter focused heavily on renewals, offering guidance on continuing education requirements, and also some information on how to prevent some deficiencies in renewals. The newsletter also introduced our online licensing system with some helpful FAQ section addressing some common licensing questions that we were getting. With regards to speaking engagements, from February to July, we had staff participate in multiple events, both virtual and in person. This highlights included presentations at the UCR Pest Management Conference, California Pest Management Association meetings, and homeowner association town halls, specifically one in San Diego. The topics that were discussed were ranged from WDO inspection and fumigation practices to regulatory updates and training coordinations. So with that, that concludes my update, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Do we have the only question I had was on the number of email communications were up to 872. Did we have like a goal, I guess? Like, is 872 good? Is it, oh man, we're barely scraping the surface?
So that is our general subscription list. So anybody who subscribes to that list can join it. We also have, we can pull reports to create different lists. So specifically for like the WDO rollout system, we're sending just directly to those specific people. Our goal is to generally always increase that.
But this 873 are people that subscribed.
Yeah.
So we also have other email lists that based off of like information we have on licensees. So when we sent the notices out for, for example, the WDO, it went out to our licensees as well as.
It went out to 17,000 emails or.
Well, I'm sorry, not as well as these, but no, something specific would go out to our licensees.
Okay.
But if we're wanting to send information out that's more general, maybe a regulatory package, it would go out to the subscribers, but we also have, the licensees list that we'll use.
I guess the question was like, are we on track with what we're doing in our outreach? Or like, did we set goals or hey, we just as getting subscribers were good?
I would say yes, considering where we were a few years ago with, we didn't have social media, we didn't have any, a whole lot of outreach going on. The newsletter's back. I mean, I think we're doing really well.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Open the floor to the public. Open it to online public.
WebEx is open for public comment on outreach and communications. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a second now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Christina. Agenda item 16, public comment on items not on the agenda. So we'll now open the floor for public comment on items not on today's agenda. Please note that the board cannot take action on these items, but may place them on a future agenda. So I'm opening the floor to the public if they have anything that they would like to comment on. Jim's already gone 3 times, so. Okay, let's open it online. My God. Silence, yeah. Can we open it up online?
My apologies, technical difficulty. We are open online for public comment for items not on the agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. Agenda item 17, future agenda items. Do any board members have topics they would like to add to future agenda? No. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only topic that I would talk about at all would just be the in-person compared to virtual meetings. How often are they always going to be, is this the law now? Do we always have to do it where virtual and in-person, where it's hybrid meetings?
No, it's not the law. It's allowed in the law, but it's cost, there's cost savings in doing a hybrid meeting. I could have board members join from Southern California, not, pay for, and if we go to Southern California, if they're all in person, we should go to Southern California, which would be an expense also. So I was just this year trying to achieve some cost savings.
Those boards doing hybrid meetings?
Yes.
All of them are doing hybrid?
And I think you get more people attending for most programs when you do hybrid because people can join online.
Okay. Just wanted some input on that. So that's it. So we're done with agenda item 17. Let me open up future agenda items to the public. Okay, online, any future agenda items the public would like to talk about online?
WebEx is taking public comment on agenda item 17. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you. Our last agenda item, number 18, it's our annual election of board president and vice president. The board's legal counsel, Sabina Knight, will now conduct the annual election of the board president and vice president. Thank you, Sabina.
Thank you. I won't keep you very long. I know it's been a long day, and you all have been troopers, which I appreciate. So we'll do it reverse order. We'll do take nominations for vice president first, and of course, like I always do, I always like to check in to make sure someone's willing to serve because it is not a servitude type of situation. We want to make sure you can nominate people all day long, but unless they're going to do the job, we can't move forward. So I will first take nominations for vice president. Do I hear anybody? I got two. What?
Me?
Sorry?
I'd like to nominate myself for vice president.
Okay, so I have, sorry?
I said awesome.
A vice president nomination for John. Thank you. And I need a second.
I was going to nominate myself as well.
That's not.
Kyle.
I will.
That's not.
You said a second.
Jumping the gun here. I need a second for. I'm sorry. I'm asking for, if there is a second for John's nomination for vice president, and then we'll move to you. Don't worry. Oh, there's no one over on the other side. You're all over here. Okay, so I wrote you down as the wrong name. Sorry. Okay, so I'm not hearing a second. Am I hearing any other further nominations?
Are you nominating yourself, or can I nominate you, Kyle?
He was talking to me.
I'll nominate you, Kyle.
Thank you, Mark.
So I have a nomination by Member Paxson for Kyle.
While we're in public, I get more respect.
You do, Mr. Paxson. So will you accept? So, well, you were going to nominate yourself, so I have to assume that you would accept the nomination by Mr. Paxson, Board Member Paxson. And, I need a second. Or is there a second for Kyle as Vice President?
I'll second.
We have Scott as a second. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Paxson. All right, public comment for our motion on the floor. I have a nomination and a second for Kyle Finley for Vice President. Do we have any public comment in the room? Seeing none, moderator, can we open for the online participants?
WebEx is open for public comment on the Vice President nomination. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment.
Sorry.
Seeing no request, you wish to continue with your nomination?
Thank you much. All right. Oh, there we go. So I have a motion and a second. Kyle Finley for Vice President. Can you do the vote?
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. Board Member Finley.
Yes.
Board Member Mendenhall.
Yes.
Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
Board Member Tingen.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Congratulations. Did you want to say anything?
Thank you, and I enjoy sitting on the board and being part of the board and fulfilling the role of Vice President.
Great. Excellent. Okay, and our last thing before adjournment, I know I'm trying to hurry. We have calling for nominations for president. Accept nominations now.
I would like to nominate Scott Mendenhall.
So I have a nomination. Scott, are you interested in accepting that nomination?
I'll serve.
Okay.
I'll accept.
Okay, so then I would like to see if there would be a second.
Second.
Member Paxson. It's very official. All right, any further nominations? Okay. All right, can we open any public comment in the room for Mr. Scott Mendenhall, President's motion? If not, we'd like to go to moderator.
WebEx is open for nomination on board president. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. And the group remains silent.
Thank you. Okay.
Vice President Finley.
Yes.
I guess President now, Mendenhall.
Not quite yet.
Yes.
Okay, well, Board Member Mendenhall.
Yes.
Board Member Tingen.
Yes.
And Board Member Paxson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. I'm good.
Thank you.
Say a few words.
Back to you.
Okay, the meeting is now over. The time is approximately 3 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
That's not bad.